right.
What would Socrates say to that?
It tickles my fancy.
Okay.
Goosies.
I don't have hair. You got Marcos.
That's not.
Wait.
Yeah,
That's true. You do got me. Get over here, Marcus. Let me look at you.
They don't want it.
Tobin and Leroy, ready to deploy. Had to hit it with a little journalism, but that was a decoy. Better have about me, boy. Okay, Leroy and Tobin, hold to the show, man. Still on the stars with the show, and till then his half moon open. Sometimes go taste like a snowman. No proof I'm alive by the motor. No proof. Like I always wanted him, I never hated him, I never traded him, and if I did, I never ever. You know what? What is a star? Like in the city, the driver's side fly. Wish I could large, so many more. 10 in the more, never a bar. Hey, 10 in the more, 2 to the P. Nothing to you, but it's something to me. Handsome as ever, and cute as could be. You can watch us on YouTube with view for free. Hey, this one time for the Twitch. This one time for the text. This one time for the phone line. Whole time, wonder what they gonna do next.
You know, I just wish you guys would stop the quibbling.
Morning, everybody. I know that man's happy. No quibbling with his Tommy Hutton with his red hot fish right now.
Holy smokes.
The Fish getting a shutout win last night over the Twinkies. Edward Cabrera. This is incredible. This guy was Wild Thing Vaughn. He couldn't keep it in the strike zone his entire career. And all of a sudden he's turning into Cy Bleeping Young. This is crazy. Prospects. You can just see Peter Bendix is in the background. He goes, yes. I can't wait to trade him for the next Kyle Stowers. Hey, you might want to you listen, sell high, right? That is the plan.
My question is, at what point are you building?
I mean, they are building. They do have.
I understand that, but if you one of the problems I've always had with baseball, and I know that certain players get outpriced for your budget, right? But you trade a player for prospects and hope to get the same player. At what point are you just going to keep the player?
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know to trust this player.
I know. I'm just saying
I don't know.
Down here,
I want to trust him.
My biggest pet peeve with baseball, especially down here, is that we're always looking forward to trading a good guy for prospects. At what point are we going to say, let's make a run with this?
Well, we'll see. I mean, like, they're on fire right now. I think they're 7 games out of the wild card. They're right there at third place now. Third place. But they're rolling.
I know.
Kyle Stowers probably going to be their all-star. Remember when you made fun of him?
Yeah, Leroy.
Kyle Stowers. Because I said he had a good eye, and you saw him swing and miss one time. You're like, some eye.
That's right.
It's a guy with the good eye. This dude just keeps hitting bombs. Probably going to be their all-star.
Wow.
Should have had another one yesterday. Jesus Sanchez hit a moon blast. And, like, I don't know who thought about this, but, like, the Marlins in their wall, which I know they've gone through variations in that new ballpark where they've had the carnival art out there, which is now facing Little Havana. It's now out of the stadium. It's just there. Like it's a small world. Red Grooms. Thanks, Loria. But there's like, he hit a ball and like, it's so dumb that he hits a ball that far, but because the padding goes up like this,
yeah, why do they do that with the wall? Why can't it be the same height?
Why can't it just be the rest of the wall?
Right.
There's like this weird, was it because they had to put a sign there? I'm trying to figure it out. I was like, why is that extra padding there? That's such an inconvenience.
There's a lot of ballparks like that where it's perfectly curved in the outfield and then it goes it makes a little ridiculous turn.
They lost a home run based on like a little extra fabric. I'm like, what?
It's like in Boston, even in right field. Like you hit it in right center.
Pesky pole. Yeah. It's
And then, well, not even it's right center, and then there's like a gap. So if you hit it 3 feet to the right, it's a home run. But if you hit it 3 feet to the left, you got 15 more feet.
There was all I saw was just fake ivy that should have been a home run, but he hit the one piece of blue that just went a little bit too high. Are you looking at the home run from last night, Marcos?
I'm looking at the ballpark.
Or the double?
Essentially, I'm just looking at the field right now because you mentioned that it's kind of like it looks like a Pizza Hut roof. It's very like, why did we do this? Why isn't it just the same height?
And it's not. And here's the thing. Especially in a new ballpark. Like I could understand if you put it in a football field or an old stadium and you get to a point where the stadium and the walls and you got to have that little curvature or whatever. But in a brand new ballpark, the least you could do is make it perfect.
Isn't it crazy?
Because you had nothing to work. You don't have to compete with any other sport.
I mean, I know they did fix the walls at one point. I'd have to go back and see what the 2012 wall looks like, but this one I was like, huh. I mean, I remember the old one, of course, the Bermuda Triangle out there, 434 to dead center.
Right.
But it was like, it had this like little, most normal ballparks curve on the outfield wall with some exceptions. But the Marlins at Pro Player or Dolphins Hard Rock, now Hard Rock, but for you kids, back when the Marlins were atop the sport, they had this Bermuda Triangle in center field where like it had the teal tower, which went to the deepest corner. It kicked out on like a maze. It kicked out. And it was like, you never knew what was going to happen there. But if you hit a ball there and it bounced, you knew it was going to be a ground ball because they had that hard rubber track. But it was like, you had to tattoo it to hit it out there. It was the deepest center field in all of baseball.
What about was it Houston had the hill?
Houston did have the hill. I think they got rid of that like 10 years
they got rid of it, but there was
not
a hill.
Not only had a hill, had a hill
pole.
with a pole.
Right. I'm like, what are we doing?
What is this, Sonic the Hedgehog?
You couldn't just put the wall in front of that hill?
Got a ballerina of the night as I catch this ball. You said 434 was how far it went?
Yeah.
I'm looking at like an old, but this is what I don't understand about baseball. How can I hit something 100 feet less and also
well, it's a fair question. In every other sport, the 3-point line is the same. It's 100 yards in football. The end zones are the same. Baseball is the only sport where we're like, we're going to turn this into Sonic the Hedgehog. There's going to be obstacles.
Or how about Boston, where it's 220 feet, but it's 40 feet high?
Yeah, you got to hit. You can't just hit some.
You can hit a pop-up out of the park.
Yeah, no line drives. But you can hit. Yeah, you can hit a can of corn and it'll just carry. It was crazy. But either way, the Marlins do get the win yesterday. Nick Fortes did end up coming around and get the Marlins an insurance run that they tacked on there. But man, nice job by them. Fish will be back.
Is that 7 or 8?
That's 8, dude.
8.
Longest winning streak since 2008.
Jeez.
If they win tonight, it ties a franchise record.
Really?
Yep.
And with 2 championships, their longest winning streak is 9 games.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. Like that's when you know, relative to baseball, your franchise is young when you look at some of the records. Right?
Sometimes.
Like go look at like the home run records.
Everyone's has a weird one though. Like remember the Mets forever before Johan Santana ruined his arm. Like they went like years without a no-hitter.
Right.
Like usually your franchise, except for like the Yankees, like you'll have one that's like, oh yeah, we've never had a guy.
Yeah, but no hitter is different than like who owns the record for home runs? Career home runs.
Barry Bonds.
No, here in Miami.
Oh, Giancarlo Stanton.
Who's at what? 2.
I'll look. I'll see how many he had.
Yeah, but and just when you compare those numbers to other franchises,
267. Yeah,
But
but
when
then
you
the second place is such a fall off. It goes to 154.
Is it
right,
Gary
because the
Sheffield?
guy never played there long enough.
Gary Sheffield had 122.
Who was one? So Dan
There's
Ugla?
actually quite no, there's that. He's
Yeah, I'm good.
He's
I'm
good.
good.
He's good. I was trying to see because it was quite a bit ahead. I was quite a bit. I was
But-
like, he's not gonna get
But you understand what I'm saying. So if you look at home run record for other franchises,
Mhm.
it's like 200.
No, but I just bring up the no hitter one because we mentioned the Marlins history, and like the Mets never had a no hitter, and the Marlins in their history had like 5 before the Mets even got
Right.
one. Like it was
Right.
crazy.
Right. I just do it with or stolen bases, like career, it's like the Marlins hit for a cycle yet just recently, right?
A couple years ago.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like that stuff, that's like the sport itself, like cycle, turning a triple play, no hitter, like stuff like that. But I'm talking about like career stolen bases, career strikeouts, you know how old your franchise is when you look at those records. You could do the same thing in football, right? Like who has the career rushing in your franchise? If you go to like Carolina, versus like the Browns, right? Like it's just such a difference. And it's just weird. Like 267, like that wouldn't even hit top 5 with the Yankees.
Probably true. Headlines brought to you by Doral Volkswagen. At Doral Volkswagen, choose from over 300 new Volkswagen models in stock with the Tiguan, Taos, and Atlas. Remember, when it comes to Volkswagen, the great deals are at Doral Volkswagen. So the Fish back at it tonight, 640 as they go for 9 in a row. The big news yesterday in the NBA for the Miami Heat, they finally make a trade. Our sweet Duncan Robinson traded, sign and trade to the Detroit Pistons.
Damn it.
3 years, $48 million for Duncan Robinson. So
That's pretty, you know what? He gets to go back home, back to Michigan.
Gets to go back to Michigan.
They did it again.
Hmm?
They took the man with the golden arm from us. Now they took Dunyard Dog.
Yeah.
Wayne Ellington.
So what did they get him for?
There, is he?
They got him for Simone Fontechicco.
Oh, yes, of course. Fontecchio.
So now watch.
Hmm?
Before the season starts, I want you to take my $10 and put it on anything that gets Duncan Robinson his 3-point numbers.
You want me to
Right.
bet on Duncan Robinson? Do you think there's a line set for Duncan Robinson's season over-unders?
Or some crazy like leading the league in 3-pointers.
Okay, I'll see. I'll see if Hard Rock Bet will make that happen.
Because like
I know when he faces the Heat, he's gonna drop like 7 threes on our head. That I know. I'm bummed out. We'll get more into it. Gotta take a break. We will talk today to Coach Brad Underwood, Illinois' head basketball coach. He coached Kasparas Jakučionis in college, so he'll join us next hour. Lots to get to. Back after this.
WQ
Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you. 560 WQAM. You guys can get at us on YouTube and Twitch, Miami 560 WQAM. And we take you up until 2 here today. We got Rats Off a Ship. We got lots of fun here heading your way. But yeah, yesterday, the NBA news for the Miami Heat finally making a deal. Duncan Robinson. And really, Duncan Robinson made a deal. They just got a forward, a little bit of size and shooting back in Fontechicco. But Duncan Robinson, he gets a 3-year, $48 million deal. Reports are it's a partial guarantee in year 2 and non-guaranteed in year 3. But I guess the big deal is he's going to get at least a $6 million bump than he would have gotten this year. So
What was he supposed to get this year?
Well, he was supposed to get, his number was 19.9, but his only guarantee was 10.
Okay.
So he got at least guaranteed.
Okay, so because I was getting ready to ask the question.
Yeah, he at least guaranteed himself $6 more million for this
With
year.
a sign and trade, why doesn't the money have to match, and who takes the hit on the cap?
The money, it depends.
Because it doesn't match. The trade doesn't match.
It doesn't. Yeah, it depends on. I believe what money's going out into their cap too. I think it works like that. So
you see what I'm saying? Because they're trading.
Yeah, they're getting a guy back.
They signed him for 3 for 48.
Yep.
Right, and they taking back $8 million.
Yeah, I haven't seen the exact contract, Leroy, but I know that this is the full year is guaranteed here. Fontechicco made a little bit less than Duncan would have been guaranteed.
Yeah,
so
you have some wiggle room.
It fits into the Heat's cap, and they could take money back because they had wiggle room on cap as well.
They're just trying to get under.
Andy Ellisberg over here.
So I have a question.
See, cap questions ever replaced hockey questions for the summer.
We know how the Heat have done things over the years.
Yeah.
As of about 4 or 5 years ago, they have been, or as soon as they had started the second apron, was what, 3 years ago?
They've never been in the second apron.
No, but I'm just saying they have been more conscious of where they are as far as the salary cap more than ever.
Yeah.
And,
well, you're talking about when the new CBA started?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 3 years old.
So is that a reflection of how the team looks, though, that they're not taking these big hacks and going into paying, going over the salary cap?
I think you're seeing it all over the league. I think you're seeing why
teams take swings like Boston, and then once Tatum got hurt, they're like, we're not doing this.
Well, yeah, it's exactly why. And they probably, even if Tatum wasn't hurt, they were probably going to make the moves that they did.
Yeah, because Porzingis, as awesome as he was and how much of an impact as he made, he didn't play enough.
Mm-hmm. But if you look at Memphis with the Bane thing, they paid Bane a $200 million deal, and then they were going to pay Jaren Jackson. You saw the big deal he got. Which, by the way,
$250.
He got $240 over his 5 years, and they just announced he's getting surgery for turf toe.
Can I just tell you something? I know. Like when I sent you the text right away about Halliburton, 2 seconds you could tell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you right now, turf toe is no joke. When you have surgery, you know what makes Deion Sanders so amazing?
Mm-hmm.
So before he went to Baltimore, he was in Dallas, I think. Was he in Dallas or wherever he was? He had a toe injury, missed a lot of time. He had to have surgery. He basically had the same surgery as O.J. McDuffie, right?
Yep.
Basically what they do is your thumb, this is very equivalent to your thumb, they fuse this part. So it's like running on a 2x4.
Put it more on the camera.
It's like this part right here. They fuse it.
Yep.
So it's like running with a 2x4. You can't bend. OJ couldn't play anymore after that. Dion was so fast that he could go out there and run on a plank and still compete. And so when I hear people having this surgery, and I don't know if this is the exact surgery, but it was very similar when they say turf toe surgery. I would be like I would be very cautious. I'm gonna be paying attention because I know what this has done for football players and
Right.
how serious it is, even though people just brush it off as a big toe.
Well, I think there's two guys because I think Garland had the same thing, and I think they said Garland's going to be out like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, it's just a toe relative to your body. Doesn't seem like that much. You can't do nothing without it. It's like, imagine if you had a hand without a thumb. What would you be able to do?
Oof. I don't
Right.
know. Can't even pick up my phone. Stuff. Feel like a lobster. But yeah, so the Duncan Robinson deal going down, like, so I think the thing is with him, like, I'm not surprised. When he opted out, my first reaction was he was going to go. I think that was, I just felt like the way that his role just kept yo-yoing, I felt like he was going to look for a place. And look, it's a great landing spot for him. He was, they just lost Tim Hardaway and they just lost, well, they didn't lose Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley appears to have lost himself.
Right.
It's a lot. He's dealing with a lot because not only is he got the gambling thing, but there's a huge story in the Detroit Free Press today about like he's had like his paycheck from the Pistons like frozen because he's owed money and things like that. So it seems to me like he's got a lot of drama financially he's dealing with. So they just went in a completely different direction and gave that money to Dunks.
Right.
But for the Heat standpoint, like, look, I don't think the Heat were in a spot where they probably should have paid Duncan Robinson $15 million a year. Let's just say it was guaranteed. I know that some of it's not, but even this year, because you just look at the depth chart, like right now, like they're going to be in a spot where, if he goes in a cold stretch, Bo's going to put him on ice. And it does feel like the Heat are going to start leaning into their youth, and hopefully the signals you're going to get some actual playing time for Jakucionis, and they're going to see what they got. But it didn't feel like a team that was like, hey, we're going to feel some type of way obligated to play Duncan Robinson. And that can get a little wishy-washy with this team from time to time.
Oh, yeah. 2 for 2.
I think Duncan's probably like, not only with the money, but it's like, yeah, get a fresh start somewhere and on a fun young team that's up and coming.
I think more than anything, athletes want to play. And that's the honest truth, right? Like the money is one thing, but more importantly, you want to play. You want the opportunity to do the thing you love. And I think everybody always looks at Dunk and say, well, at least he got the money. But I promise you, Duncan was miserable that he wasn't playing.
Probably.
Right. I'll say,
Yeah.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Here it goes. Leroy's toes spell OHIO. Leroy's foot putting up signs like a third base coach. Throwing gang signs. I mean, Leroy fumbled so much that he gave the ball turf toe.
Well, at least they moved on from your toes from my shirt because I got called a circus peanut in the first segment.
No, somebody said you're built like a tangerine and now you have a tangerine shirt.
Somebody else said you Obi. Said that you were Obi.
The mascot?
The mascot for the
The
Orange Bowl.
Orange Bowl mascot?
Called you Obi.
So I think I hate to say this, but this is kind of where I was getting at. What is the end goal for this team?
Yeah.
Because
Well, this is the thing. I think that, they didn't obviously go all in with the KD thing. They were very wishy-washy on doing that.
Yep.
I would imagine their next course of action is probably going to be to trade Andrew Wiggins because what's the point of having Andrew Wiggins here? Like, it just feels like they're going to go young. That's what it feels like. Which if that's what they're going to do,
Well,
they got their own pick this year. They got their own pick this year and see what it is. Like, I'm not, obviously it's not going to be a year where you're expecting much, but at least you're picking a direction. You're not sitting here in this flotation of the middle of like trying to hold on to the 8 seed.
So question.
Yep.
I would believe all of that except their SPO. And
I'm not saying they're going to tank. I'm not saying they're going to tank.
with young guys, right? Like,
but it's not like he's never done it. Like, that's the thing. It's not like he's never done it. And it's honestly like he's had teams with worse rosters that finished with better records than he had last year.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not saying the Heat are going into this thing to completely tank, but I don't think that I think they are in a move where it's like, hey, you're going to have to like let people play. There's some mistakes, which I respect. Like, at least that's where they're going to go.
That's where I'm getting at.
I hope. Like, look, you may be right. Maybe he's like, nah, let's hold on to every veteran and play. Give me mass minutes of Fontechicco and Kyle Anderson.
But this is me personally. I believe in that sport, if you don't get your money's worth, then you have to make a decision on a player, young player, and you're not really sure what he can or can't do.
Yeah, and
that happens. We've given so many guys these ridiculous contracts that 2 years later you go, woof, because they only ended up playing like a year and a half.
Yeah, I think, and I think from this standpoint, I think the two guys that you got to decide on really are Tyler, because Tyler's, they're going to, we'll know in October if he's going to get his extension for 3 years. If not, then it becomes a summer thing because I think he's only got like 3 weeks for that to be agreed upon.
Right.
And Jovic, they got to decide like what's the future of Jovic, because Jovic is going to the final year of his deal, because I don't think he's going to get extended.
Yeah, but see what I mean? Like, why are we here? I just think that if you're investing in a player, the last few years has shown me that you've given a lot of contracts with some uncertainty based on not what their abilities are, but based on the small windows of opportunity you've given them. And that's not fair to the organization or the player. You should know, like, you shouldn't, especially with young players, especially when you look around the league, like, the thing that it always seems like these teams want to do, they want to know if this guy that we picked up or drafted or developed is extension worthy. And we're going to put him in spots so we have a definitive answer. There's been a few guys here. There hasn't really been a definitive answer. The only thing that you've seen is a snippet right before it was time to get the extension.
I'm trying to think like who's the last, but like the last guy, that got to this point and extended was Duncan. Like Duncan was after a couple of good seasons, so they haven't really.
But
been
that was they played dunks though.
Yeah, so they haven't really been in this position.
But I'm saying in the past, we got Tyler Johnson, we got.
Yeah, but that's a little bit of a weird one because like he was an undrafted guy. It's like that was an odd situation. Actually, thinking of it, like Tyler's the last guy that they had to extend. So,
now you got to make a decision with Jovic. As much as we love Jovic, do we really know what he is?
No.
Right.
No, it's an important.
And now we're up against it.
And to be fair, he did break his hand last year.
Right.
So he missed half the season.
We're up against it, and we're going to have to make a big decision. I don't want them to be playing games with his minutes. I want them to give him a consistent role so at least the organization will know if he's a guy to move forward with or not.
Agreed. And I think part of what will be interesting is if they do trade Andrew Wiggins, do they go into a situation where he's starting and they're starting all three bigs, giving it a little Orlando look, or is he going to be the sixth man? Which he did like being sixth man last year. He was not bitching about that. He actually, I think, enjoyed that role of being the facilitator off the bench.
Does
And,
Davion move into the starting role? Tyler move to the 2. I don't
Yeah,
want Tyler.
no,
as a point guard.
I think I would be surprised if that's not in pen. I would feel like I think Tyler, Davion, Bam, Ware is your starters, and then it's just a matter of Wiggins if he's going to be here or not.
Wiggins or Jovic.
If Wiggins is here, he's going to start.
Yeah.
They're not gonna bench Wiggins. If Wiggins is here, he's going to start. But I think it feels like they're going to try and find somebody. I know they're going to try and trade Terry too, but like also I'd like to trade this cup for $1 million. Like, good luck.
But is this his last year?
Yes, it is.
So that makes
It
it appealing.
Maybe he is cleared. That's what the word is. He's cleared. We'll take a break. Mixed bag is next. Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you, 560 WQAM. Take you guys up until 2 here on the program. If you guys want to go see the band Ghost, they're going to be coming to the Kaseya Center this July, and J-Fig has a pair of tickets to give away. It's a Live Nation show, but keep on listening, and we will give you a pair of tickets to see Ghost. Frog Boy.
Yeah.
We got the coach, Brad Underwood from Illinois, coached Kasparas Jakučionis in college. He's going to join us at our typical mixed bag slot. So you think you could do it a little early today?
You know what? Speaking of Ghost, I can make room for our boy, Ghosty Ghost Coach. Let's mix it on up now.
The mixed bag is brought to you by Leroy Horde's headphones. What do you got for us today, Froggy?
Hey, one of the dogs got out,
Oh,
man.
and the guy's cutting the grass.
Yeah.
He got scared.
Yeah, he was like out there with the weed whacker going,
He just wants to play.
Yeah.
That's how he says hello. What do we got, Froggy?
I have some college football.
What?
That's right. That is right. Don't blink, ladies and gentlemen, but football is returning at the end of this month. Not college football, but before you know it, our Saturdays and Sundays will be filled with football action.
Filled with joy.
And in the meantime, Paul Finebaum declared Arch Manning the king of college football quarterbacking, the best prospect he's seen since Tim Tebow.
I think there's a reasonably good chance that Arch Manning will be sitting on the front row in New York at the Heisman ceremony. That's assuming that his team does what it's supposed to do and compete for not only the SEC, but for the national championship. And I really believe they will. I think Steve Sarkisian, who's one of the most amazing play callers I've ever seen, made a critical mistake late in the year. He was way too loyal to Quinn Ewers, who was banged up and was really ineffective. Had Arch Manning been instituted in the second half of that game, I think there's a reasonably good chance that Texas would have beaten Ohio State and won the national championship. They're very capable of doing it again this year. I believe also that Arch Manning is the best college football quarterback we have seen since Tim Tebow entered the scene in 2006.
Wow. Didn't feel like he had to go that strong. And then all of a sudden he's just like, I got a July take.
By the
I respect
way,
it, Paul Finebaum. I respect a little July sports take.
Arch Manning, I mean, we know he's already the most mobile Manning, but Tim
That's
Tebow.
not saying. Well, no. Archie was the most mobile.
Yes, he said he ran for his life in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Didn't he hit a speed faster than Tyreek Hill last year?
Who?
Arch
He did,
Manning.
Arch Manning, yeah.
No.
I think he did. I think he hit like a miles per hour on his tracker. I think he hit faster than anything Tyreek Hill did last year.
20.7. Wow.
Tyreek running about 21, 22. What are you talking about?
Look,
I'm telling you,
but it
that was a
says-
headline
this
last
is
year.
it. He recently recorded a top speed of 20.7 miles per hour during a 67-yard touchdown run. This speed exceeded the top speed recorded by NFL player Tyreek Hill, 20.3 in the game earlier this season.
But that's
So-
because okay, you do realize he's slowing down when he does this. That means it's over. So
It's his
he's
top
never-
speed.
Okay.
It's his top. What was the date on that?
That was September 18th, 2000.
Oh, this was early in the season.
Right.
Early in the season. But still.
Now look, 20 miles an hour is fast. And I'm not even saying for intangible. That's fast.
Seems like you are.
Seems like
No,
it.
I'm not.
Seems like you are.
But Tebow, though, I don't know. Tebow had this thing about him. Crazy.
Tebow, are you?
Well, you said college quarterback.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about like speed because Tebow was just kind of running into people.
Yeah, because that's all he could do. He couldn't throw worth a damn.
He was a moose.
Didn't need to. Did this weird little thing.
The jump pass.
Strange. But it worked though. Hell of a team.
What else you got in the mixed bag?
I got a little Damien Woody.
Oh,
Yes, that is right. Our boy Damien Woody had
that's our boy.
Yeah, well, I guess not. He was a Patriot, right? He had some conversations about our boy Mike McDaniel and whether or not he should be on the hot
I am putting Mike McDaniel on the hot seat alert. I think Mike McDaniel is a guy that we need to be watching very closely. The Miami Dolphins are in transition, in my opinion. I call the Miami Dolphins, they're what I call empty calories. They show you a lot of candy. They give you a lot of candy, a lot of things that look cool and stuff like that, but ultimately it doesn't mean anything. That's what the Miami Dolphins are.
Yeah, well, you want to know something, Damien Woody?
Yeah, not our boy.
Candy's delicious.
It is really good.
Um,
One of my favorites.
he's not wrong.
I mean, he's not wrong.
And here's why.
Nobody can afford a one.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why.
Go ahead.
When you get to the Super Bowl, right? Or you get to the playoffs, the things that were successful for the teams that went far in the playoffs were the things that the Dolphins couldn't do. And so when you look at the things they did well the last couple of years, it looks great. It's high-powered offense. All that, everybody gets excited about the big plays and all that. But when you think about the teams that competed for a championship, the Dolphins did none of those things well. None. So while he's saying, yeah, it looks cool and it looks good, he's basically saying that style of football won't win you a championship. And we've seen it because guess what? When it gets cold, when you got to go on the road in the playoffs, when you got to go on the road in December, your offense is not conducive to those types of environments. And so everybody can say he's wrong. Everybody can make fun of him. But it's an accurate statement, right? Like, and I've been saying it for a couple of years. And Tobin's till I'm blue in the face, and it annoys Tobin.
What?
How I feel about 4th and 1.
It doesn't annoy
3rd
me.
and 1.
It annoyed me one time when you harped on it in a 62-0 win.
Yes, but
Your point is valid like most of the time. It just felt
all
like
the time.
nitpicking.
It's
Felt
valid
like
all the time because that is an indication
162-0.
but wait, Marcos,
But it was telling. Hey,
that is an indication.
was telling.
That is an indication of who and how tough your team is. Because the style of football that needs to be played in that small area is needed more than anything else.
I'll tell you this. If Mike McDaniel starts the season 1-4, because the Dolphins got 3 division games. They got the Colts, Patriots, Bills, Jets, back-to-back primetime games. 1-4, he's out, dude. Especially if
I'm going to be honest with you.
They're gonna pull the trigger on that dude, and they're gonna make it.
Here's the problem, and here's the problem with that. He will not get fired during the season.
I don't agree with you.
And here's why. There is absolutely nothing that you could bring in or change at that moment that will make it any different or better. And if you say to me, okay, I can bring this guy in and fundamentally we can be a different team, I would say, okay, great.
Yeah, but you obviously can't hire anybody, and they have a guy at defensive coordinator who's gotten head coaching interviews before, and people respect. Like, it would just be a sending of a message from the owner being like, all right, this leadership wasn't good enough anymore, and try and spark something out of a season that wouldn't be dead.
But Tobin, you're missing the key point behind all this. Okay, if I bring in a guy that has a different idea of how a team should be run, so say if I bring in a guy and he's along the lines of Man Campbell, right? Of how he's going to do things, how he's going to be physical or whatever. You ain't got the players for that or the team for that. So you're wasting time.
No, I think what you're doing is you're honestly not wasting time. You would be wasting time if you felt like the season was lost already and you kept him around. That would be wasting time. At least if you're doing,
how's it going to be any different?
Because first off, you can see whether or not Anthony Weaver is a good coaching candidate.
No, you can't.
Sure you can.
You can't tell based on how this team is built.
Well, that's not true because Man Campbell, when he took over, showed some really good qualities of being a coach. They didn't think he was ready yet and hired Adam Gase, but he did show some qualifications of being a head coach.
Okay, but here's the deal. Okay. When you brought in Man Campbell, the team was very similar to what Man Campbell was trying to do. Means they did run the football. They did use a lot of play action. So he changed the attitude, but the fundamental way this team was built and how they played, right, was pretty close. The attitude needed to be changed. So I get that. When you have the way this team is built, all right, and you bring in a coach that wants to be more physical, run the ball in the middle, in between the tackles, more play action. This team is not built that way. So to bring him in to say, I want to see what he can do,
we're on different wavelengths here. You're not bringing Weaver in to see necessarily what he can do. What you're doing is Mike McDaniel at that point, if the Dolphins got off to a point, let's just say they lost to all three division opponents to start the season,
right? And
you're looking like you could be a last place team. You're basically sending them like, dude, the guy's runs over. And sometimes when the run is over. It happens. Some guys lose touch as a coach staff, and he's already shown signs that he can't control a locker room and guys don't respect him. So you think that's going to get better with a poor start after he's already got heat on him? Because we all know, like, you would agree, if they don't make the playoffs this year, he's going to probably be fired.
Yes, I'm not. And here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be fired if that start is the way it is. What I'm saying is that it shouldn't be, whether you do it after week 4 or whether you do it at the end of the season. The way this team is built, regardless of who's at the helm, is not going to matter, because the attitude and the way this team is built needs to change, not the coach. You can change the coach, but if you have the same players playing the same way that they've played with the same type of offense, it's not going to get better. Now, if Mike McDaniel changes that, and you can see a difference in how they go about business, how they go about the fundamentals of playing football, instead of all that pretty, window dressing stuff, right? And he starts off slow, you can at least see that there's something, that has changed. So you can't kind of, and I get that we're going to look at the record and say, it is what it is. But I would say that just basing it solely on the record, right, is not going to be a fair assessment. And if things continue, if they play football the way they've played the last 2 years, changing the coach ain't going to matter.
What if they lose to the Panthers after the division games?
I mean, it's going to come a time where, again,
there's going to be
probably is going to have to happen right? If things aren't going well, but I'm just saying,
I get you. Like, you
having
don't.
a new guy come in with the same with the attitude that the players have, or the type of players you have in place,
Mhm.
right? That right now, I'm going to say this on offense, not defense. On offense, this team plays with no physicality.
None.
There is nobody you can bring in that's going to change that at any point of the season. You're not.
Yeah, it feels like the damage is done there.
Right. Now, it'll be interesting to me to see, right? Because this, and here's why I've been more patient with this. Because every other stop that Mike McDaniel and every other place that he has coached has been nothing like what we've seen offensively here. Nothing. They all played physical football, ran the ball in between the tackles. So what Mike McDaniel is doing here is not what I'm accustomed to seeing in any other offense that he's been a part of. That's what I'm shocked about.
Well, thank you, Damian Woody, for that hot, scorching take. Took over the mixed bag today.
Our boy.
We'll take a break. Get you caught up with your headlines. Hour 2 is next.
It's time for our Tua.
It's our Tua. It's our Tua. It's our Tua. Tua, Tua, Tua. Tonga Vailoa. Not
Tua Tagovailoa.
A for effort. Dolphins quarterback.
Tua.
It's our Tua. It's our Tua.
Tua.
Tua, Tua, Tua. Tua, Tua, Tua. Can go to hell. Tua Tonga Vailoa. Dolphins quarterback. Daddy loves you guys.
Our Tua with Tobin and Leroy.
Check the history of food.
Hour 2 of the program, ladies and gentlemen. Tobin and Leroy here with you, 560 WQAM. Take you guys up until 2 here on the program. Headlines brought to you by Doral Volkswagen. Doral Volkswagen, choose over 300 new Volkswagen models in stock like the Tiguan, Taos, and Atlas. And remember, when it comes to Volkswagen, the great deals are at Doral Volkswagen. The Miami Marlins shut out the Minnesota Twins 2-0 for their 8th win in a row. Edward Cabrera with 7 shutout innings. Gave a couple of hits, a walk, 6 strikeouts. Kyle Stowers, his 14th ding-dong of the season. Probably on his way to the Marlins All-Star nod.
I don't know if I like that.
Why?
I like him being an all-star, but every team has to have an all-star.
Every team gets an all-star. I actually like it. I like it.
A bit of a
participation
trophy.
I like it.
I like it too.
Maybe.
So-
Well, to the extent they used to do it, and I think the rosters used to be smaller. Like they do it now, and so now even the more deserving all-stars get on it. But I always liked it when I was a kid, and I would tune into the game. Frog Boy, your guy was wearing his uniform, and I was furious when they didn't play Ryan Dempster in the 2000 World Series. I still have a Ryan Dempster official 2000 All-Star batting practice jersey. They had him warming up in the bullpen, didn't get to pitch. I actually brought it to him at Tommy Hutton's baseball camp one time. He couldn't believe anybody owned it.
Ah, that's nice.
So Tobes, in the chat,
Yeah.
we must have hit a nerve or something,
What's that?
because everybody says fire the owner, and I would say that they say, you say if Pat is sleeping, then what is Ross? And I would say Ross is the owner. Like, it would be the equivalent to blaming Mickey for not signing anybody in free agency, right? It's
Which,
like,
yeah. I mean, Mickey's taking some blame, I think, of like, I'm not going to pay that guy.
well, if he says I'm not going over the cap, I'm not paying that guy. Okay,
Right.
that's his right.
Mhm.
Okay, but when it goes to what's going on the court, that's not him. And I would say what Stephen Ross does is he leaves it up to the guys he hires. Now, if you have a problem with those guys, that's a different discussion.
Right.
But I will tell you this, and I know it from first-hand experience. If you have an owner willing to spend money, even if it's not on the right people, you are ahead of the game, because every owner isn't like that. And if Stephen Ross said, you know what, I want out, I'm going to bring a new owner in, the first thing that owner's going to do is drop the payroll. And then you'll be miserable. So while I get you want to put blame on Stephen Ross, I would say he may not have the best people doing the things needed to win. And I would say, maybe Chris Greer isn't the guy. Or maybe the people he has in charge aren't doing a good enough job. But as far as an owner who invests his own money in the franchise and in the area, be careful what you wish for.
I think honestly, there's, look, it's not that when you own the team, you don't get to skate all controversy. Like
You don't. I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying you don't get to skate all of that. But like you could see in Cincinnati, like they're nickel and diming their best players. Like his big problem last year was he paid all of his best players, and now it's like, hey, that kind of sucked. Like, I got no bang for my buck of having happy players. Every way across the board, the Dolphins come back and they have A+ glowing reviews on the Players Association board. It's bought them nothing. All of the players leave here saying they're miserable and that it's toxic and all that stuff. So what has it bought him? And I think my biggest thing with Stephen Ross has been two things. One, when he does do some type of resolution at the top, he always seems to half-ass it. Like, he won't ever just clean house. It's always like, I'll keep the GM, I won't keep the coach. I'll keep the coach, I won't keep the GM. This guy's in charge, this guy's in charge. Like, I do think the next time it happens, it has to be everybody's out. Find a guy you trust, whoever it is, but just make that guy in charge, have everybody on the same page. But basically, since Bill Parcells skated because he didn't want to work with them, and he started this infighting, ever since Jeff Ireland was leaving on the plane with him like a stool pigeon and going behind the back of his head coach, since that moment, he's had all of these rifts that have developed over the head coach and the GM. And so I don't know what responsibility he wants to bear for that, but it's got to be something, because obviously he's picking some side there. And I think eventually it's like, hey, you got to do a clean break at one point. Now, they kind of tried to do it with the Flores thing, but that also ended up being a problem because he didn't want Tom Brady and didn't want to tamper for Tom Brady. And we all know how the rest of the story unfolded. Then he tried to go back on Tom Brady and bring in Sean Payton. So now he ended up with this weird, I understand they ended up with Mike McDaniel as their head coach in a situation that they didn't expect. Because when we all saw Brian Flores get fired, which, mind you, he ended on a good season, we all knew, hey, they probably have something in the fold. And yeah, it was, I'm going to get Tom Brady and Sean Payton, and that blew up because of a tampering lawsuit. So he's got two things. I think of, he doesn't clean break, and he's had some things ham-handedly get caught with his pants down with the tampering thing and the trying to get Jim Harbaugh thing. And, you know, they've kind of been pushing a rock uphill with some of those things because they handled those things so unsmoothly.
Right. But I'm not saying that.
But he spends money.
I'm not saying he doesn't have any responsibility in this or a hand in this. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that you want your owner. I don't know. There's a lot of owners in the league that hire people and don't do anything and let them do it. Right? He tried to have an impact, and every decision went sideways because of how awkwardly he tried to do it. So he backed away from that. This whole situation, right, is, for me, is centered around one thing. We see the blueprint and what type of football and what mentality you have to compete for a championship. And I don't know if this team is even close to that.
Yeah, we don't.
Now, whatever they need to do to remedy that, then you know. But guess what? If we go look at the last 3 Super Bowl champs and we see the style of play, let's not even go Super Bowl champ. Let's go to AFC, NFC championships and see the style of football they play, regardless of who's at quarterback, regardless of who's at wide receiver. And you see how they play football. The blueprint is out there.
Thought
right?
was walking in there, but was it a dog? What happened?
The blueprint is out there. So my question is you see your team. You see how far away from it you are with that. Your style of play is not inventive or creative enough to beat that.
Mm-hmm.
So what do?
They got to hope like hell that the improvements that they made on the interior offensive line are going to pay off. Like they hope, right. I hope they hit a home run with Savaianaya and that the Achilles of James Daniels heals.
Right. See, unlike most people, I don't care who's doing what. I just look at the team. I see what's winning in the NFL, and I don't see the team that I follow doing those things. and being physical enough. If you look around football, the teams that run the football and stop the run, the teams that are physical with their front, with D-line and offensive line, are the teams having the most success. And you are not even close to that.
We'll take a break here on this show. Back with more to this. Welcome back, everybody. Gonna have a quick segment here because head coach of the Fighting Illini and head coach of Miami Heat first round pick Kasparas Jakučionis is going to join us. Brad Underwood. He's going to stop by the show, so we'll talk a little Heat with him. Yesterday, Duncan Robinson was shipped in a sign-in trade to the Detroit Pistons for Simone Fontechicco, who had 2 monster games against the Miami Heat.
Accent?
I don't know. Never heard him speak.
Italian.
I know he's Italian. Know he's Italian. Know that he bombarded the Heat with 2 of his best games, and but I'm gonna miss Duncan. Tyler Hero chimed in yesterday on Instagram with a post. Was sad where he went out there and he said, "Heat legend, my dog, love Duncan Robinson." With a prayer emoji and the fingers crossed.
Heat legend? You think so?
I think he gets to have the distinguished honor of Heat legend. And I feel like he should get himself a tribute video.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like he deserves a tribute. I feel like he deserves some love when he comes back here. And yes, I do not. You quibble with Tyler Hero's description of him as a Heat legend?
No, I don't. When I look back at Heat legends, I'm getting names like Michael Beasley or Mario Chalmers or Norris Cole.
You're getting correct descriptions.
Right. He's definitely much more accomplished than all of those.
He's not more accomplished than Mario Chalmers. Mario Chalmers is a 2-time champion, two-time.
Norris Cole too, but it's like as an individual.
No, but but Mario Chalmers,
he did some work in those.
Yeah, he was the starting point guard for 3 of those teams. Probably should have been for 4. We went a little too long with Mike Bibby, if we're honest with it. That's neither here nor there. By the way, did you see that JJ Barea is back?
Oh, I didn't see that.
JJ Barea is an assistant coach on the Denver Nuggets.
That's why LeBron's contemplating retirement.
So, yeah, we'll take a break. We're going to talk to Coach Underwood here. We'll get a little bit more knowledge on the Heat's first round pick as the Heat start summer league practice today, I believe, and then get going on Saturday in San Francisco. Take a break. Back with more for this.
WQAM broadcasting.
Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you, 560 WQAM. Take you guys up until 2 here on the program, as it is a hump day on this holiday week. And we got Summer League starting up for the Miami Heat. They got practice today as they'll get going this weekend in Cali. And very excited last week.
So they have a Cali Summer League, and then the main one is Vegas.
The main one is Vegas, but they do a few games out in San Francisco, Leroy, to
preseason.
warm up. Yeah, kind of. I don't feel like it has as much prestige as the Vegas one, but hey, this is how they get tuned up. You know, they get tuned up and then they show up to Vegas. They try and win the whole damn thing. And we're certainly excited because the Miami Heat got a bit of a surprise in the first round. Kasparas Jakučionis ended up falling to Miami at 20, where a lot of people didn't think that he was going to be there for Miami. And Illinois had a hell of a draft because they ended up having back-to-back picks go there in the first round. His teammate Will Riley went right after him. And we got the head coach of the Fighting Illini joining us here on the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. Coach Brad Underwood joining us here on the show. Coach, how are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. Thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it. Can you take us to draft night? Because I imagine that went from a little bit stressful because I think people thought Kasparas may have gone a little early to you have this awesome moment for your program where they both go back-to-back. What was that night like?
Yeah, very fun. I told them before the draft, both of them, you know, expect the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen. It seems like every year that there's a shock or two, guy taken, somebody drops or slips. But truly that means nothing. The number means nothing. It's about the organization and it's about the opportunity. We've been through this before. We went through it a little bit with Io DeSumo a few years ago. It ends up in a great spot. And in KJ's case, Kaspar's case, it was phenomenal. Just couldn't end up with a better organization, in a better spot, a Hall of Fame coach, two budding superstars to play with, and what a great spot for him.
One of the things that's amazing is you not only had your two players, but you coached against Vlad Golden.
Yes.
So you have you actually know about three of the players that the Heat ended up, you know, either signing or drafting. I have an off the wall question, is that have you ever seen two guys go in like the top 5 or 10 and that college team not make the tournament?
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes to how good our league is. I think to how good this year was. Just an incredible group of freshmen.
Right.
In the Big Ten. I think you look at, you know, KJ, Will, the two Rutgers guys who you're referring to, and Ace and Harper, Derek Queen, Jace Richardson. I mean, you know, it's just an elite year. That the league was filled with young talent. But you know, Steve Peichel's a tremendous coach, and you know, if you don't have all 5 spots, it's very hard to win in this league with just with just a couple of guys, and that was the case this year. But the league's so good top to bottom. If you don't have a stacked team and some depth, it gets very hard to win.
So, Coach, tell us a little bit about like KJ off the court. Like, what is the things that make him tick as a player? You know, that made him so successful.
Yeah, you know, you think about this, it probably goes understated that, you know, you've got a young man moving across the water, 18 years old, new team, new friends, new situation, you know, going to classes, university structure, and that's a lot of change. And then to step in and make the adjustments to handle those situations in such a mature way. KJ is very mature, beyond his years. He was a pro long before he was announced as a draft choice in his approach. He was a great student of the game, maybe the best I've ever had in terms of studying and film, and he's very serious in terms of his approach. His diet, his recovery process, his workouts are extremely disciplined. There's a young man who hadn't eaten sugar since he was 13. A guy that he's not enjoying Skittles and wings. He's very serious about that stuff, and his approach extremely competitive, and a guy that is a winner first and foremost, and it's why it's such a great fit with Coach Spoelstra and the Heat.
Have you found that younger players now are more prepared for the various levels of basketball that they're going to than they were, say, 15 years ago?
I think to a certain extent, yes. I think in some ways, no. I think the physical parts of the game and the competition that they see are at an elite level. That's changed a great deal with the prep school situations and the some of these schools that stockpile talent. So it's not that they haven't seen great players. I think that the challenge is how hard it is to win in college, and how hard it is to be a good college player first.
Right.
You don't just bypass all of that. You have to take the steps to do that. The strength and conditioning piece is very different. Most of these kids at the high school level have never been in shape. They think they are, but they don't know what that is until they get to this level. So I think it's it's a little bit of give and take on both of those, on both sides of that. But kids are very prepared in terms of the talent, and they're not in awe of anything anymore.
Now, the thing that stood out immediately when he got drafted, we all started looking at the highlight reels. I mean, his passes are absolutely sick, Coach. The thing that this kid can pull off with the basketball. When did that pop for you when you saw, oh my God, I can't believe that he saw that or can pull those off? Did that pop immediately? Did that start developing in the season? When did you notice KJ's passing ability?
No, I'm enamored with passing, and in the recruiting process, that's what stood out the most. That and his ability to hit game winners. He was Mr. Clutch. But there's not a pass he can't make. And that's very, very rare for a player his age, right-handed, left-handed. It's really fun as a coach. He may have a turnover, and you ask him, what did you see? And what he sees is ahead of the game. It's ahead of most people. It's a frame or two ahead, and you as a coach, you see it, and you're just almost amazed at okay, it's hard to get mad when he turns it over because the read was right. But he is, I think he'll be great in the NBA when you eliminate the 3 seconds in the paint. The rule we have in college, it'll open the floor for him. That's why he's such a great teammate. He can elevate everybody. You're putting a lob threat with him now in pick and rolls as well. So I think that it's very exciting for me to watch him continue to develop because he is such an elite passer.
Oh yeah, so you've already thought about what him and Kalel could be like together. That
it's the one thing. We had a stretch five who could really shoot it, and that duo together was elite. And now you give that lob threat that'll put a lot of stress on the front of the rim.
Yeah, I'm curious about one thing, Leroy, but the turnover thing that you mentioned is interesting because it's everybody pointed that out when he got drafted, his turnover numbers. But I imagine as a coach, if you have a guy running your team and he has that creativity, you don't want to strangle that out of him either. You don't want the kid to be gun shy, especially. So how did you guys balance that with him, especially being a young kid only in his first year?
Yeah, he really grew in that area. And again, I looked at it like Luka. From this standpoint, if you watch Luka turns the ball over. And KJ really grew in that area because he started to understand situations more as the season went on. And I never wanted to stunt his. I usually clapped when he turned it over. He had one or two where you were just like, okay, he's going to throw one in the third row, and you just get it out of the way now. And then he settles in and he doesn't make that play again. He's very cerebral. He's very conscientious of those things. But his situations grew, and he became more comfortable in those. Those numbers came down.
Is KJ a player where, when he has a turnover like that, and you ask him what he saw, you wait kind of for the response before you determine the level of the turnover?
Yeah, no doubt. I know what I see, and
right.
and sometimes it was more explaining to him about the situation that we were in, than it was the turnover of the play. The play was usually always going to be the right play. It might not just have been at the right time, and it might be we need to turn that one down to get to the next option.
That's growth, though. That's from playing the game and playing at different levels. And once you learn the different, the time of it, it's kind of like a quarterback. When it's 3rd and 14 in the first quarter, you don't have to stuff it in there. But when it's 3rd and 14 in the fourth quarter and you need to win the game, sometimes you got to take chances.
That's right. And he's fearless. He knows he can make the passes. He knows he can make the plays. There's a undeniable fearless mentality with him that is really fun to coach.
What was the night like after both your guys get selected? Like, what were the emotions of that like?
Tremendous. And to go back to back, it was really neat because they went through the process then after the draft, and they do all the backstage stuff and the NBA social and all of the interviews, and they're right there together. And as a coach, you can't help but have a smile on your face. You're like the proud father. And then when it came to all the pictures and the photography, we were able to put them together. They were roommates on the road. They're very close friends, and for them to have that night in an individual way, and yet to turn around and be able to celebrate it with a teammate and a good friend, and get those pictures, it was really neat. And all their families know each other, and so it was a pretty cool after the moment type night, and had a lot of fun as a coach, enjoying that moment with them.
I heard Adam Simon that night, the Heat assistant GM, he was talking about that you guys told him that that KJ has no hobbies. Like, you always just found him in the gym, that he was that kind of crazy about it. Is that true? Is that's the type of the guy is as far as his dedication to basketball?
Yes. And I think that will it's what he knows. He's very, very, very funny. I've always said that we had a young man on our team, Tomislav Ivicic, who will be in next year's draft and one of the top guys coming back. And to listen to those two, they could make millions and millions on a podcast because they're hilarious. And Kasparas is very funny. He's got a dry humor, but he's very smart. And so he loves to sit and talk to people. He loves to he's very social that way, but he's not a guy that goes out. He's not into all the extracurriculars of the bar scene and clubs and all that. He's way more serious about the game and wants to become the best he can be, and he just doesn't think that stuff benefits him.
Well, Coach, congratulations. That's an awesome night for your program, and thanks for giving us some time talking about Kasparas Jakučionis.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your summer.
You too. Take care. That's Coach Brad Underwood, head coach of the Fighting Illini, the University of Illinois, and appreciate him giving us some time.
Hey, when he starts talking,
Yeah.
Everything about him says basketball coach.
Coach. That's a coach.
Coach.
That's a coach. I don't feel like he's watching last night's Love Island. I feel like he's already in the film for next year.
And apparently so is Kasparas. Like, no hobbies, always in the gym.
Gym rat.
Love that.
Love a gym rat.
Yeah.
You know? His cheese is the ball.
All right.
What, too much?
All right, too much.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, Love Island last night. Wow.
Oh, God.
Wow.
My wife is officially
in?
Officially in, man.
Wow.
My cousin came down, and this is strange though, because now they're doing like a joint bachelor party, and it's gonna be Love Island, but like,
what do you mean?
My cousin came down and she got my wife on the show, but she's also describing in a few months going on a bachelorette joint trip with her soon-to-be husband, and they're doing Love Island theme, and I feel like that's gonna be
strange.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
What are we
That
doing?
sounds like the person who planned that specifically wants to hook up with somebody else.
Seems
Right?
very corny if you ask me.
Right.
But we're watching it at sports bars. We're getting theme parties after it. It's infecting my life. I don't know if I like Ace. Do I hate Ace? What about Huda? Something about a Shelly.
It really was. Listen, disappointing night for Shelly. That's all I'll say. You know, she's I'm noticing a pattern of behavior with her because it's starting to feel very Austin to Ace-ish, because she did the same thing. I don't know if I want to leave you, Austin. He goes, I know you like Ace. Just go to Ace. And now she's doing the same thing with Chris, where it's like, I don't know, Ace. I thought we were getting to know him. And Chris is like, hey, I moved on to Huda. She goes, but Huda's not my friend. She's not being a girl's girl. I'm like, all right, you know what? There's no such thing as girl's girl on Love Island. All right? It's not Friendship Island. That's not how it's supposed to work.
How did you, I mean, like, wait, like, she needs to be more aware, right?
One would think.
That just is ridiculous that they all say it's a game. It's a game. It's a game. Then somebody's feelings get hurt, and now you want to be friends.
There's no such thing as girl's girl. First of all, are you going to be what about being a guy's girl? You have Ace. And it's like, do you want Ace or do you want Chris? Well, very clearly it seems like you'll want Chris and not Ace. And Chris has already moved on to Huda. And now you're mad at Huda because she kissed him. They're a couple. They otherwise he would have been home. Stop acting like you're doing some great service here, Shelly.
Oof.
Ridiculous. I'll tell you one thing, though. Pepe, he sent his other intangibles. Oh, he misses Hannah. Because Hannah was very horny.
We're still hungry.
Very clearly. Pepe was not happy. He's like, I just miss Hannah. And she's like, oh, well, Hannah's gone. He goes, yeah, I know. It sucks. And then he was yesterday. He's like, why did you guys send Hannah home?
Why would they do that?
Which is a fair question. She shouldn't have been sent home. Probably Huda should have been sent home in that elimination. But I think the real problem is Pepe's upset because Hannah very horny. Telling you. Nunya Buzz just says gross. Agreed. I had a night last night, though, dude. I watched the Marlins win. All right. Then Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Reunion was on. Then Love Island. It was a night.
Secret Lives of Mormon.
Oh, see, yeah, but I gotta say this to me. What a coward. She didn't show up to the reunion because she had to go to Disney World. Yeah, a real Mickey Mouse reunion, if you ask me.
You need a reality TV channel, dude. You need like your own. You know how you do post game for the Heat and stuff like that.
I feel like that market's been cornered.
By who?
I don't know. People.
Another Vanderpump?
I don't know. I feel like that market's been cornered.
No, dude. The analysis that you break this down is with the same ferocity that Leroy breaks down 4th and 1. You're just like, how can you not come to the reunion show? That's a horrible game.
It is. It's horrible game ups. You not showing up to the reunions like not showing up to the Super Bowl. It's ridiculous. That's the culmination of all the reality TV. I will tell you a garbage thing that they did though, right? Wow. So this Jess, she slept with Marciano very clearly, but she can't say that she slept with Marciano because season 3. don't have a reunion if you're going to hold stuff off for season 3.
Season 3.
A reunion is supposed to be no questions are off the table.
Yeah, for the last season that just happened.
Tobin's going to be drinking tequila on his YouTube channel because his favorite contestant has been eliminated. That's what I feel like last night with Duncan Robinson. I feel like Duncan Robinson was taken off Love Island.
Oh.
Duncan, you are not coupled up and now vulnerable from Heat Island. And he goes, no. I just got a bombshell. $48 million from the Pistons, baby. He's going to be, I mean, how furious are we going to be when he's in the Eastern Conference Finals because Cade Cunningham is just finding him nonstop. Cade Cunningham triple doubles.
I mean, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because Cade Cunningham could play.
It's one of those things too. It's like I'm not mad that Duncan Robinson is gone. I'm sad that Duncan Robinson is gone because I get why Duncan Robinson is gone.
Yeah.
I get it. And I'm not ripping the Heat for it. I get why the time came to an end. I'm just sad. He had a great Heat career. It's an awesome story. And it's just a bummer. That's all it is. But you shouldn't have put him down. Hey, putting him in the game for the first time down 47 in the third quarter. A bit much. Not going to rant about it, but you know what you did.
You'll see. As soon as Detroit comes down here, Duncan Robinson, 9 threes.
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah.
But he deserves a tribute. He deserves a video tribute.
Yes, he does.
He deserves a video tribute. The Dunyard Dog deserves a video tribute.
Yeah.
Heat legend.
I mean, like, what's crazy is we treated him like Boo Boo the Fool, and the guy made 500 threes quicker than anybody in the history of the sport.
Yep.
It's that coach.
But I just want, like, for me, like, for example, when me and you would get into Jimmy debates, you would always say, but he was in the finals just 3 years ago or just 2 years ago. He went to 2 finals. And you would say this over and over again. And we pick and choose what to do that with because Duncan Robinson did something quicker than anybody in the history of the NBA, and he gets 2 for 2 and he's out.
Poor Duncan.
So I'm having a hard time believing why can't we be patient with him?
When will the refs ever and will the referees ever respect him? This man is now going to be in his career a maker of over $100 million. Has anybody been this disrespected by the officials?
I mean, I will say this. Has anybody ever been disrespected by their team?
Totally fair.
Right? So maybe the officials are seeing the way the team treats him, and they say, no big.
Oh, I'm so excited. I just got a message from on Instagram. Love Shelly, but she's getting on my last nerve. Ace wearing his heart on his sleeves, wanted to close off, but Shelly too busy going after Chris. Ace may have to drop her at the next recoupling.
I thought we didn't like Ace.
You know, I don't like a lot of these people on like I go from one day I don't like them and then the next day, well, I don't like that person because you want to know something? Nobody likes each other. And the only couple that's closed off is Nick and Sierra, the fakest of the fake, those two.
Oh,
two snakes in the grass. I still like Alondria. Alondria deserved to blow off some steam yesterday at Taylor. I'm not mad at her because Taylor, you know, they finally had their comeuppance and, you know, she lost her bleep on Taylor. She probably should have lost her bleep earlier. She saved it for that night. And then unfortunately, Taylor embarrassed her and still picked Shelly. But I'm going to give her a pass. She's literally been an angel the entire time. She deserved a little bit of messy. Shelly, we're going on like 9 episodes here. Like, just pick a lane. We got to get going. I like Alandria too much. I give her the pass. Taylor, you're a bit of a weenie. I respect that you like Clark. You should have kind of gone to this quicker. Austin, you're a dum-dum. I mean, like, literally can't rub 2 sentences together, this guy. I can't believe he's still on Love Island. That was a correct criticism. And everybody's got to stop being mean to Amaya. You mean to Amaya, I get it. She sounds like a cartoon character, but I love her. She's adorable. And stop being mean to her, even though nobody wants to be with her. Especially you, Zach.
Yeah. Zachary.
Zach, you call me talking like this, and you're like, oh, you're from London. First of all, listen, this is Love Island, USA, so you're already behind the 8 ball.
Wow.
Second of all, you weren't acting like that at Casa Amor.
Ooh.
You got into the villa, and now you don't like her. Can smell a rat a mile away.
What the hell?
So where's Ekinsu
I think she's with what's his face
for now?
for now.
Wait till next episode.
Fernando says, I'm so done with this stupid subject.
Yeah, I agree, Fernando. I'm protecting my mental health, so I won't even look at the TV.
Cody says, Tobin, you're too invested, big dog. E. Sim says, Tobin is more into this than Mrs. Tobin. I don't vote. She votes.
Oh, okay.
So that's your only difference?
That's it. Right
I just don't want to download the app. That's too embarrassing.
That's really okay. That's where you draw the line.
That's where I draw the line. I'm not. But do we converse on the vote? Perhaps.
Yeah, of course.
Now she has final say. It's her app.
Man, I wish I missed the good old days of voting on my house phone for American Idol. That was dial 9 if it's Clay Aiken.
Thanks again to Coach Underwood for joining us. We'll take a break. Back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you. 560 WQAM. Headlines brought to you by Doral Volkswagen. Doral Volkswagen, choose from over 300 new Volkswagen models in stock, like the Tiguan, Taos, and Atlas. Remember, when it comes to Volkswagen, the great deals are at Doral Volkswagen. The Marlins, they are rolling right now, baby. Longest win streak since 2008. 8 straight wins. They win 2-0 over the Twinkies last night. I'm going to go this weekend.
All right.
Going on Sunday.
Any deals, promos? Like,
No, I just said, oh, we got some tickets. I'm like, I'll go.
Okay.
What is your must-have at the ballpark?
Ice cream and a helmet.
Oh man, that is good. Just a beer right now.
I know when I go to Dolphins games, the hot cookie.
Oh, dude. What? Wow.
Forget that ice cream. That hot cookie? What?
I know
if I
Tom.
go to a baseball game, see, it's changed because, back in the day, you go to the baseball game, you had to get a hot dog, right?
100%.
Can't you get you a dog? Now, there's so many different options. That's not a must. And I'm going to say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you eat nachos at a stadium or a ballpark, you're dead to me.
Wow.
It's disgusting.
Whoa.
It's disgusting.
Well,
you see the dude, they
You don't
pour
like the
it out of
cheese?
a bag yesterday.
That's true.
And it stays warmed while it's churned. And then you push a button and it comes out like ketchup.
I don't like the way you
not
said
eating that.
churn. I don't like the way you said that.
They churn it, right? Keep it moving, because if they don't, it's going to get hard, and then they got to throw it out.
Like Luke Cornett's grandmother?
Yeah, churn it like butter. You know what I'm talking about. And then there's no guarantee that the nachos are going to be crispy.
There is no guarantee about that.
Right. So, I'm out. Listen.
Is Yelich just DHing this year?
I don't normally judge people. But when I walk to my seat, or I'm walking to get me a hot dog or whatever, and I see somebody with them nachos, I pass judgment.
Wow. Is Yelich just DHing this year? Because I want to know if I can yell at him. Yelich!
I believe he is just.
He only DH because his back, if he runs, his back gives out.
He really does that. He has the back of a grandma.
And that's way from the Marlins. He's had that bad back since he was here.
Yeah, it looks like he's just DHing.
16 home runs this year, though.
No, wait.
Really?
Yep. As of 2 days ago.
Yeah, he's DH most of the season. A couple games in left field this year.
Wait. So Tobes.
Day game after night game. I'm sitting.
I guess our
we're sitting in
guy
left.
is
We're
not
sitting in left
just a
field.
single sitter.
I mean, he did win an MVP.
Yeah.
Congrats to him.
Has there ever been a hot take you've been more wrong?
No.
I mean, it's hot.
Well, definitely not one that. Definitely one that didn't have as much humiliation as that one.
But I'm not even talking about that portion of it. I get at the point of the season when we had the wager, right? You feeling that way. But he went on to win the MVP.
Very good season.
Yelich. Can we think of another player that just missed, like you thought was going to be garbage and ended up being a good player?
No, I normally go the other way.
Great player.
Normally I oversell and they underdeliver.
I was very
like
critical.
Lithuanian Magic Johnson, who I can't wait to see this weekend.
What? That doesn't, dude. First of all, that doesn't even sound right.
What do you mean, dude?
It's weird because basketball, especially women's basketball, are the only sports where you go from getting drafted to playing basketball for your team within like a week.
Yep. Dade South says, quote, I normally don't judge people. You had to make a deal with God.
Boy.
That's Buxton, dude.
You've been boxed.
Amazon Prime.
I want to play something here for you because it really delighted me, because I think it's such the appropriate way to deal with this news. So we get the news yesterday. Darren Waller has been traded to the Miami Dolphins. He didn't play football last year. The Giants and him, that didn't work out. He once was a very good tight end. He's a moose.
He was a good tight end when he had a decent quarterback. If you go look at the years he struggled, go look at the guys who were playing quarterback.
I'm sure they were god awful, but it was a while ago. It's been a while, and I don't know what he's gonna bring to the table, which is why I found this promo that we had running today such a delight.
Who, us?
We had a promo.
Our show?
Our station. It was like, Glenn puts together the topical, and it's like Aaron Ekblad resigns. Go Cats. And the Heat, they're starting summer league. And then it'll be like the Dolphins resign. But today it was like, even the promo voice lady is a little pessimistic about the Dolphins.
The Dolphins continue their offseason moves, trading draft picks for Giants Pro Bowl tight end Darren Waller, who retired in 2023. We'll see. The Panthers' great week.
Wait, the promo lady's giving sass?
I was like, what? What? And it's probably like I can even say that's an inappropriate promo. I was like, you know what? That's probably the right thing to say. We'll see.
Pro Bowl tight end Darren Waller, who retired in 2023. We'll see.
Wait, because if she had to say we'll see after she said he retired, like once you say hasn't played football in a year, then it has to be followed up with, I mean, we'll see pretty strong.
We'll see.
I guess we will.
Wait. And so Leonard approved that?
I don't know. I was like, he wrote it. I'm like, did he write that, or does she start? Like, does the promo lady just have takes now?
You think she
She's also just done with the Dolphins. She goes, we'll see.
Wait. So now she has, because Lynn says, put your own little twist on it.
We'll see.
Oh, dude.
That was so great.
Dude, that literally.
Can you play from the start? Just like with the whole open and then just her pessimism.
The Dolphins continue their offseason moves, trading draft picks for Giants Pro Bowl tight end Darren Waller, who retired in 2023. We'll see. The Panthers' great week continues.
Wait, but you had to know something was coming, because she goes, the Dolphins continue their offseason trading draft picks for right? Because she started off like that.
Oh my God.
Like she's already hot that you traded draft picks.
Continue their offseason moves, trading draft picks for Giants Pro Bowl tight end Darren Waller, who retired in 2023. We'll see. The Panthers' great week.
She has zero faith. It's just not a lot of faith in that. We'll see.
Somebody said she gets a -1 for sass.
-1 for sass.
I got to tell you. I mean, she's not wrong.
No, she's not wrong. It's a completely fair.
She's not wrong. And it's not that he can't play. It's that, I tell you what. You remember when Megatron retired?
Mm-hmm.
It might have had something to do with his quarterback too.
Sure.
Right? So
wait, didn't they have Stafford?
Was he gone? He was still there?
I think so.
He would have kept getting big numbers. So I did, or the losing. They
I think the losing.
Over. They did go over. Wow. I got to tell you.
Man.
That is fun.
We'll see.
wait, Lynn said I wrote that. So, Sass for Linden. Wait, she's just a method actor. She's just
Hey, I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to say.
right.
It's just not typically what you hear on a radio promo, where it's like it's not even upset, it's not anger, it's just like
Right.
Dolphin. We'll see.
Right. I mean,
We'll see.
You kind of could tell something was coming when you say the Dolphins traded draft picks for Giants tight end who hadn't played since 2023. We'll see.
Oh man.
We'll see.
We'll take a break. Back with more after this.
We'll see.
I love pretty girls.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you, 560 WQAM. Take you guys up until 2. Hey, if you guys want to go see Ghost at the Kaseya Center coming up in a couple of weeks, you guys can keep on listening. We'll give away a pair of tickets to that before the end of today's show. JFig giving away another stash of her tickets. It's a Live Nation show. Ghost, not Kasparas Jakučionis, a.k.a. Ghost. Not him, the band. You'll be able to see plenty of KJ coming up with the Miami Heat. He did officially sign his contract yesterday, so congratulations to him. He's locked in for the next 4 years for your Miami Heat. And that was on top of the Duncan Robinson news, of course, yesterday. But Heat's Summer League will get going. As far as any other moves that'll be coming down the pipe, I don't really know what to make. Like, you know, they keep in these, like, you know, Mark Stein blurbs and ESPN, like they keep tying the Heat to Jonathan Kuminga and DeMar DeRozan. I don't know. I'm very skeptical, especially with the idea that, like, Jonathan Kuminga is seeking like $30 million a year.
Who?
Jonathan Kuminga. I'm with you. It just seems a little steep. Seems a little steep, especially on a multi-year deal. Like I said, if that ends up being true, that he would play out the year on like his $8 million qualifying, and the Heat could go in that direction and be like, hey, we'll take a spin around the Kuminga block for a year, and then we'll see if we want to pay him that much money. But to just 30 mil out of the gate, probably $120 million deal. I don't know, dude. Seems like a steep move to me for the Miami Heat.
Not for nothing. He had a little run.
He's very like he's got the athleticism. We get it. Talented dude.
But when was the last time you said Kuminga was a difference maker? 30 million. I need some kind of difference maker.
Right off the bat.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
it's a big bet.
Right.
If it's true that he would pick up his qualifying offer and, you know, the Heat want to take a spin around it this year, I wouldn't be it would have been different. Here's how I feel. If the Heat would have gotten him at the deadline last year and had him for 6 months, and then that's what it would have turned into, okay. But, like, you've never had him. What are you going to do? Call up Steve Kerr, who seems to hate his guts, and he's going to be like, he's going to get him back for the Jimmy Butler thing. He's going to be like, oh, yes, but you're going to love him. You're going to love him. He's built for you. He goes, are you just doing the thing that I did to you with Jimmy? He goes, totally. See ya.
And it hangs up.
It just hangs up.
Okay.
Like, I love that conversation where, like, Spo and Steve Kerr had to speak about Jimmy Butler. He goes, oh, yeah. He's going to fit in perfectly with you. He goes, did you just laugh? No. He's going to work out great with you, Steve. I don't know. I feel like what it's going to be. I think Kuminga's going to end up. To me, I feel like he ends up on the Bulls, and Vucevic goes to the Warriors. That's what it feels like.
If I had a choice between Kuminga and DeMar DeRozan, I kind of would go with Kuminga.
Even if you got off DeRozan, like this is the last year DeRozan is.
Yeah, because
guaranteed.
he's more in line with everybody else on the team, right? As far as age, as far as right. And so if you're gonna go younger, then you do that. Now, the problem with it right now is you don't know if you pay Kuminga money, if you can make demands on his game that you would be expecting. He says you can, but you haven't seen it for a substantial amount of time. You've seen it in pockets, and it got to the point where the coach didn't like him and wouldn't play him.
Yeah, it's essentially I guess it's the Jalen Brunson bet, right? Like Jalen Brunson leaves, he goes to New York, and obviously, there were ties there. They had a comfort level there with him, but I don't even think they realized like he was going to turn into the face of their franchise.
Right.
I think he was a little older, but I've read the articles. Like he has aspirations. He's going to be an all-star. He's going to be one of those guys. And it's not like it's never happened. Like Jimmy was an example. Like Jimmy kind of turned himself into that. I just think it's a big bet. I think that's a big, because like you're right. Like you're bringing him here, and if you pay somebody that much money, you're like, hey, you're our starting 3, and you're essentially our second option right next to Tyler.
Right.
And what does that mean? Like, what is that team? I have no idea. I have no idea what that.
And
team
you're
is.
basically trading him for. And I don't want to say this because I'm gonna say it, but I don't mean it kind of how I'm saying it. For a younger version of Andrew Wiggins. Like, you've seen that he could dominate a game, but you haven't seen it on a consistent basis. We've seen Wiggins start games off and score half of the points in the first quarter, and then you don't see him for 3 quarters.
I don't understand him as a player. I don't.
Right.
I don't understand how you can look like the greatest basketball player on earth for 8 minutes, and then it's just like.
But I think that's how they feel about Kuminga at Golden State.
Just watch Andrew Wiggins and just like, hey guys, you ready to watch the greatest 6 minutes of basketball you've ever seen in your life here in the second quarter, and then never see it for the rest of the game?
Yeah, like I can't explain it. But can I also say this in fairness to anybody who comes here? This always seems to happen with players that come to the Heat, right? Like they'll go off and then they kind of, too much. I need to include the rest of my team. And I always think, no, you don't. You're cooking. Like everybody in basketball says, feed the hot hand.
Mm-hmm.
Down here, like.
But I would say that's kind of been Wiggins' thing his whole career.
Yeah,
like,
no. Yes, it has.
I'm feeding Wiggins the hot hand, and Wiggins is like, you take him to an all-you-can-eat hibachi buffet, and he goes one round, he goes, I'm stuffed.
No. I'm going to tell you what he does. You take him to all-you-can-eat, and dude goes in the back room and gets a salad. Hey.
That's all you want, Andrew?
Hey. Hey, that guy got the business. I ain't going to lie.
Oh, my God, you killed him.
Yeah. I'm like, I say, bro, who you kidding? You ain't going to eat that salad. Go ahead and get you some meat.
Mario says, get Wiggins and Rozier off this team.
And see, here's how I am. I'm okay with getting rid of Terry. But, like, Wiggins is so talented. You know, and yeah, that's it. That's a perfect explanation. Mm-hmm. Wiggins is like that frog that sings and dances when nobody's watching. Right?
Marcos is the frog that sings and dances when everyone's watching. Oh, man.
Dude, I wonder if SWAT's still working. That's his new nickname.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go by there today. I'll let you know.
You're going back?
He didn't buy nothing.
I was just capturing content for him. Now I got to buy stuff.
So you were scouting too? You were just like looking.
You know what I did? I know exactly what I'm going to get this time.
What are you going to get?
Mad Dog. You know why? Because value. You'll find out in the Leroy Horde.
Mad Dog is a
yeah, it is. But you got to look for the value, right? How many shots do you get per firework? So, you know, you can't get those little less than double-digit shots. What are we doing here? And then how much does it cost? Is it buy one, get one?
Isn't that a game? But do you want a game manager firework? Like, is that what you want?
No.
Yes, here's what you have to do. Tobin, this is no lie. If you're going to spend some money, right, you got to add up the amount of time because they have some of these things that's 2 for $350. And you get 8 shots apiece, and it'll be over. You'll be out $350 in 15 seconds. So you got to get some of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
To kind of, ooh. You know what I mean?
Okay, but you're game planning this, like you're figuring out like what we're gonna lead up to. You're gonna have like a grand finale.
I taught. Hey. That's right. Hey, me and Fonz put it together. Incredible. And we like, okay, now we need the finale. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, some of the boxes said finale power.
Yeah.
That's what it said?
Some of the boxes, you gotta look.
Wow. But I'm telling you, dude, they have boxes of stuff, right? where they have a whole bunch of different ones in a big box for like 1,400, right? And I'm looking at that and I'm like, Fonz, this one's garbage, this one's garbage, this one's garbage. Like, no. We can
I
pick
would
it out
never
ourselves.
purchase those
Yeah.
packages that come together.
The boxes they put together. Because you know they're going to have some undesirables in there.
Yeah.
It's like good and plenties. Nobody eat the plenties. You only eat the goods.
If you had an opportunity to get a whole bag of jelly beans or just the flavors you wanted, what are you going to do? You know, no one wants a root beer jelly bean.
Nobody wants to black. And by the way, let me tell you something. Nothing says I'm old more than you eating black licorice.
It's disgusting, right?
Disgusting.
No one wants that.
But guess what? You get jelly beans during Easter, you know everybody gonna weed through the jelly beans and get the good ones, and you're gonna have two colors that nobody likes. And one of them is black.
Sexy Sauce says the old love jelly beans.
I don't. I like
Do the old love jelly beans?
No, I like watermelon sour patch.
Didn't you, but Leroy, didn't you for 1 year, like you couldn't eat sweets or something like that, but you normally
I
do
did it for Lent.
This is the jelly bean thing. You do like a yearly annual jelly bean surprise thing?
No. What we do is, here's what you do. I'm gonna tell y'all tricks of the trade. You want to have some fun with your family? The day after Valentine's Day,
all the chocolate.
You go get that big chocolate, and you take the top off and throw away what they are, because you know underneath it tells you which ones they are. And then we pass it around, and the person before you gets to pick which one you got to eat.
Ew.
Yeah. So just to see the faces when they bite that chocolate and get that cherry jubilee in there, that cherry floating in magma.
We'll take a break. We come
Orange
back.
cream.
Our favorite Wednesday game. Rats off a ship is next.
Game 6.
Rats off a ship.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Tobin and Leroy here with you. Oh,
Jennifer.
Hello.
She's supporting the 8-game winning streak.
Gotta support my teams, you know?
Nice. I wouldn't mind, I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind a fish wild card run here to bring us through summer. Let's get going, huh, boys?
Wow. Yeah. Al Mackey said rats off a ship should be changed too. We'll see.
We'll see. What do we got today, Jennifer, for rats off a ship?
We'll see.
Well, we have a fun rats off a ship. Let's start off with neighborhood fireworks after July 4th. How do we feel about that?
After?
That's the game.
So like just a regular Tuesday or a regular Saturday.
So like, yeah, because if you do the weekend, since it kind of lands on the weekend, I guess that's fine. But after that, it's a little.
So like July 20th.
Whoa!
Whoa! No! I'm saying
that's egregious.
July 7.
On a Monday,
I gotta be honest. Yeah, I think this is a special occasion because it is a weekend, 4th of July. I will allow you until Monday to play fireworks.
No, Sunday night is the cutoff.
Sunday night.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Once
you go back to work.
Monday,
you go back to work on Monday. Once you go back to work.
Once we get to the morning of midnight on Monday, over. Like
there's
no
need
more
for fireworks. You know?
No more fireworks. Typically, July 4th is July 4th, and I'm rats off a ship on post July 4th fireworks.
Rats off a ship.
That's it. You don't need more fireworks. We have a day to blow things up. It's too much.
So now I'm gonna throw a caveat into that.
All right, caveat cowboy. What do you got?
I'm rats off a ship. But in the evenings we get some god awful weather. And what if a couple of days string up to where when it gets dark, you can't do it?
You can get a day. Like, if you have a rain out, you got the chance for a doubleheader the next day. If not, sorry, we're postponed to the next holiday.
Oh, no.
Do you really think it's going to rain all the way till Monday?
So let me say this.
You are the weather
Marcos,
guy.
Yes.
You did the video.
Yes, I did.
You saw my excitement.
Oh, yeah. Saw it the next day.
Yeah. Something getting blowed up. I'm not
not just waiting around.
I'm not waiting around.
If I'm not mistaken, Leroy, the way he signed out this lovely video that we'll be posting on the social media tomorrow was have fun, everyone be safe. But then he followed up with, if you're not going to be safe, blow some bleep up. So I really feel as if he's determined to make that happen. This is Leroy Horde being Leroy Horde.
And 4th of July, be safe. But if you're not going to be safe, blow some shit up.
Responsibly.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm talking about fireworks now.
Fireworks. We need to be very specific because nowadays
I ain't got time. I ain't got time for stupid people. Right? It's like, hey, I can coach men and I can coach women, but I can't coach stupid. Like, if you take that and say, I'm saying literally, like, come on, stop.
So just to gather back, your rats off a ship on the post July 4th fireworks?
Yeah, I am. We went and got our fireworks for July 4th. I have a problem sometimes with people doing it on New Year's.
Really?
Right? People doing it on New Year's. July 4th is fireworks. Right? I've never really associated New Year's.
I associate New Year's and fireworks.
Yeah.
What do you just do ball drop?
Yeah, I just watched the ball drop. Because one, let me tell you, if I have a little get together, have people over, come over 8, 9 o'clock. We drink, we eat it up, we do whatever. That ball drops at 12. At 12:01, me and Big Spoon sleep. So the problem is when Fonz bring his friends over, you can still hear them outside till the wee hours of the morning. And it takes all of my powers to not go out there and run them up out of there. But then I have to think, I did invite them.
Yeah, party. You can't start a party and then end it
Right.
on your terms.
Played yourself.
All right. Jennifer, what about you? Where are your rats?
I'm rats off a ship. There's absolutely no need to be doing it on a random
not
Tuesday. Get over it.
Now, keep in mind, I do live in Davie. And
Oh,
periodically, you might get a couple of bottle rockets or something that somebody found in a closet. So, like, I can't.
Every day's 4th of July here in Davie. Frog Boy?
Not only am I rats off a ship on that.
Rats off a ship.
I haven't said this in a while, but if I catch you doing fireworks past this weekend, I'm gonna break your leg.
Wow.
I'm gonna do it.
Wow.
I will
Well, you have a baby.
Yeah.
You have Scooby. Does Scooby hate fireworks?
Scooby doesn't even hear them. He doesn't care. Now, I am very sympathetic to other people and their dogs because my family has dogs that shake from how scared they are.
Mm.
And they'll hide and you won't see them. They will not come out from behind the couch or something.
Where do they have this PTSD from? What war do they serve in another life?
The dog war.
The dog war.
The dog war. The great dog war.
I've seen it. I've seen dogs.
Dog days.
They need like a weighted vest and stuff. Strange.
I think he just called you a liar. He was shaking off saying he wasn't scared of fireworks.
No, he really does not care. When I first got him, I was terrified of hurricanes and how he would react to them. And he slept right through them.
Just doesn't care.
Does
Scooby
not
goes.
care.
The only thing he cares about is when you try and dress him like an elf.
You want to see what it's wearing today?
Sure.
What is this?
What does he have?
I
California?
think it says California on it. Yep.
So he just wears like normal t-shirts too sometimes.
It's a normal Wednesday dog shirt. Dude.
I've never seen a dog with a wardrobe.
Why does he have a crop top?
Yes.
What's number 2, Jennifer?
How do you feel about the Marlins making the playoffs?
Oh,
I'm not rats off a ship. Stranger things have happened. A lot of baseball left.
We've seen this. It was the shortened year, but they came back from, they were a little bit down and they fought like hell at the end. So with an 8-game winning streak.
Boys got some sticks.
Yes, got some sticks. You can't. Now, the funny thing about baseball is up and down, right? And they have enough stars, but not enough depth. So if those guys get cold, then we're going to struggle. But as of right now, can't dismiss it. Can't dismiss it.
Hottest team in baseball.
Yep.
Hottest team in baseball. They are 7 under. They're 11 back in the division. Probably not. That's a heavy task to catch. You got a lot of teams, but a lot of baseball left, man. A lot of baseball.
Dave South said Scooby's 23andMe came back. Is 23% Pokemon.
You know what? I don't disagree. I'm not mad about it.
So you're not rats off a ship, Leroy?
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. You would have to be just a lunatic after a team win 8 straight to say they got no chance.
Gained some ground this weekend. The Brew Crew in town. They're leading one of those wild card spots. What about you, Jennifer?
I'm wearing the shirt.
Well, all right.
I'm not rats off a ship. Gotta believe in them, and then hopefully,
Froggy,
the miracle happens.
You believe, or you think Bendix is circling like a buzzard to trade people for prospects?
I think that if I study the Marlins' very bizarre history and I base it off of that, not just this little win streak that's got everybody swept up, then not only will this season be a season of the longest win streak in nearly 20 years, they will also have the longest losing streak of the last 25 years, and they will not make the playoffs because they're going to lose 17 in a row. Or something.
Wow.
I'm positive that's how it's going to happen.
Interesting.
Because we getting our hopes high?
Exactly. We're the hottest team in
Then
baseball.
I would say this.
Out.
You are a terrible fan
Yes.
if in this moment of joy, in this period of time
You choose to be
where they're
pessimistic.
winning,
Yeah.
you're thinking, you know what you are? You're like those bums in the outfield in Major League.
Don't worry, they'll blow it.
Look, man, sooner or later, these Marlins, they're not going to trick me. The Dolphins, they have me tricked. The Heat, they've earned the right to have some bad seasons. These Marlins, they're not tricking me anymore, buddy.
We're going to be mad if they're like 4 games back and then Bendix comes in. He's like, I just traded Sandy and Edward Cabrera. Prospects!
Right. That's
For
what I'm
middle
saying.
schooler.
Great.
For
California
middle
Heat.
relief.
What's number 3, Jennifer?
We have Skip Bayless saying that Sabrina Carpenter is overrated.
What?
A grown man saying Sabrina Carpenter is overrated.
Who said it?
Skip Bayless.
But I love espresso.
Wow.
Oh,
Skip
man.
Bayless said that?
Skip Bayless, your friend.
No, wait, he's not my friend.
Oh, that's your
That's
friend.
not my friend.
That's
That's
your
not my friend. That's not my friend. Don't say that.
No,
That's not fair.
I don't know.
All
I
right.
mean, friends wish friends happy birthday.
Okay.
Hi, Brendan.
Stop.
Hi, Brendan. This is Skip Bayless, the real Skip Bayless, wishing you a happy birthday. Any friend of Joy Taylor's is a friend of mine. I appreciate your support. I hope you have a great birthday, and I do appreciate you hanging in there with me all these years.
Wow.
He
Hold on.
appreciates you.
Wait. No. Y'all don't even know the half of it.
That he left you
He left
to go meet
me
him.
to go meet up
Who
with.
leaves? Leroy
Yeah.
Horde.
Hi,
He left
Brendan.
me.
This
I'm
is
supposed
Skip
to be
Bayless.
his boy. He goes, I'll be back.
Well,
I don't think that's a fair share.
do you think he thinks I'm still hanging in with him?
Oh, you're still hanging in with him. According to him, everything's okay because he still has
Because it is
COVID.
very sad that Skip Bayless, the premier sports taker, is now sitting here taking shots at the pop queen, Sabrina Carpenter.
Is he on like YouTube?
So
That being said,
I know what you're gonna say.
overrated. She
my
might be a little
God.
overrated.
Hey,
How
She
the
might be a little
Eagles
overrated.
have-
hey,
Just a little. Just a little.
listen. I don't like Skip. I think he too many times has gone, after low hanging fruit. He always has the hot take on something that everybody likes or everybody's applauding, and he just takes the opposite side and goes sideways. That's probably why he has to do a podcast. That being said, I thought the same thing.
Wow. How
So
about that?
even though it's Skip, I'm not going to be rats off a ship because all of her songs sound the same. Yes. She's a little bit.
Sorry, what song was that?
She's a little here. Let's think of it for this way. She's a little skinny to be doing all that sexy dancing. You ain't,
Why are you shaming her now?
I'm just saying it's
Showing
part
her
of the
secret,
overrated
huh?
thing.
I honestly don't even know what songs you're trying to sing.
Who has
because
a song named Diet
What
Pepsi?
is
Is
this?
that who's that? Is that
Diet Pepsi? That's not even her.
That's not her.
Who is
But
that?
they all sound the same.
She was on
Addison Rae.
TikTok or something. What was her name?
Addison Rae.
Addison Rae.
Hmm.
Diet Pepsi, eh?
Diet
Sabrina
Pepsi.
Carpenter.
Gross. Can I hear that song? Do we have that anywhere?
No way we have that anywhere, but I can get it for next break.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're both not rats off a ship. We think Skip Bayless makes some points. What about you,
No,
Jennifer?
no. See. I
No, that's what you said.
Nope, that's
that's
what you
what
said.
I should be
That's
rats
what you
off the
said.
ship just because he said it.
Well, you didn't.
But
That would happen.
let me see.
By the way, can we erase this from the podcast so Sophia Tobin can't hear this?
No,
Oh,
I'm sending it to her personally. I'll find a way. Sending it to D.
Where are your rats, Jennifer?
I'm super rats off a ship. Who is he to be saying that anyway?
Wow. Michael
No,
Beasley.
you're a grown man. You
Dave
don't
South says
have
she
to
got
say
a
this.
Dave South says she got a little rumble in the jungle.
Whoa.
Oh, you said that with your tongue.
Michael Beasley said, Shakira, Shakira.
We're not talking about this right now. Okay, I'm super rats off a ship.
Wow. Okay.
No, I
Not-
just
not-
can't
not
even
off
find
the
the
ship.
words for this. No.
I would say she's going through the dog days of summer. If we're gonna put it to a baseball season, like she's a little bit through. Like she's like on a 3 for 40 at bat ratio right now. Hasn't really
She writes songs about people like Skip Bayless.
hasn't really knocked
who
one
have
out of the park
opinions of
since
her like
Espresso.
this. I'm not her biggest fan, but also I'm not going to stand for this.
What about Please, Please, Please? Remember that? That was good.
Good one.
No, I hear that. You know what I'm thinking of?
Good Graces is my favorite one, though.
James Brown.
Please. Frog Boy.
I highly disagree with that.
Wow.
I think not only am I rats off a ship,
Rats off a ship.
Sabrina, the new Tay-Tay.
Wow.
I think the
Opposite
opposite
is better.
Here?
What?
No, because
Interesting.
They are both exquisite songwriters, and I think Tay-Tay's a little long in the tooth.
Wow.
You know what? I'm going to mute your microphone.
You calling her a walrus?
I guess. No.
How Maggie said she looks like that killer doll Megan.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Megan 2.0, by the way, coming out. Megan 2.0.
It's already out. I want to see it.
What's number 4, Jennifer?
I just saw a comment. -1 to Day South. -1. I'm not even going to put it.
That's
good. Messed up.
-1.
Number 4. We have Jake Paul making the world rankings at cruiserweight.
Oh,
wow.
Here we go.
Here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing.
Because they want to get him. You know what they want? They want him to get his butt beat. Well, they want him to get his butt beat by stepping into the ring with a real boxer.
Somebody wants that. Somebody wants that sanctioning fee, that WBA. They want that sanction fee. I'm rats off a ship. Like it's a silly thing. He shouldn't be a world ranked boxer.
Why not?
His boxing resume is knocking out 2 bums and beating a 40-year-old across who did not throw punches at him. It's a silly thing. It's shameless. By the way, I'm not one of these guys who constantly rips Jake Paul. I'm really not. I don't give a rat's ass about him winning the world title. When Jake Paul does the whole "I want to win the world title" thing, it's because he knows he has a boring fight, and it's just stupid. Rats off a ship. He shouldn't be world ranked.
Rats off a ship.
Not even like number 97.
I'm rats off.
There's only 15 rankings. You're either in the 15 or you're not.
15.
I am definitely, but this is a ploy. Tobin is right. They want to get some of that Jake Paul money, and maybe they want him to think that he can step into a ring with another ranked boxer and get toe up.
Look, he was going down the right path. Fight Gervonta Davis, fight Anthony Joshua, do something crazy. That's what we want. We want crazy.
Deontay Wilder pick up a win.
Oh man, that would be a fight.
Look at that.
Now that would be a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Jake Paul versus Deontay Wilder. Sign me up.
I think he can get it done.
Jennifer, where are your rats?
You don't have to ask me. I already know where my rats are.
He hates them.
They're off the ship.
Rats off a ship.
Froggy?
So I was cool with it until you told me there was only 15 rankings and they gave one
You
of
think
them
they
to
rank
Paul?
like the 30th best fighter in the world? There's a top 15.
Dude,
just like in college football, there's a top 25.
I went to 100.
Me and Tobin saw the 40 ranked cruiserweight in Palm Beach, and he lost to a guy that they threw in that was smaller than him just to fight him.
Yeah, so I am rats off a ship.
Rats off a ship.
I don't think he's number 15.
He's actually 14, so they put somebody
14. No way. I'll give him number 46.
That is Rats Off a Ship. We'll take a break. Final hour coming on up. Back after this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did Brad Underwood, head coach of the Fighting Illini, if you guys missed it, we'll bring that conversation to you here in a little bit. Did you basically say Kasparas Jakučionis is Lithuanian Luka? Because I kind of felt like I heard that. I kind of felt like I heard that.
Of course,
you heard that. I kind of felt like I heard that.
Can I also say something? I feel bad now.
Why?
Because Sabrina Carpenter's 18.
She's not 18.
She's like 24.
Oh, 24?
I
thought I pulled it up and it said she was 18.
Nah. This is like
she's 26.
Okay,
she just turned 26.
Never mind. I take it back.
Yeah, she's in her NBA prime, dude.
All right, never mind.
You should still feel bad.
No, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
26.
No, I shouldn't.
You should. She's a woman.
Now, somebody who just turned 19, Lithuanian Luka.
Wait, dude, can I just
what?
My head hurts because you do this
so
much.
He said it without saying it, because we were talking about.
It's just your overall how you get roped in to so many different situations like this.
How am I roped in?
Like every time a player's free, you just assume the Heat are going to get him.
That's not true. Although I'm going to tell you something right now. Mark this, okay? Mark this. Marcos, Jennifer, Leroy.
Yep.
If Damian Lillard ends up on the Warriors, so help me God.
Oh, no.
What does that mean?
More than tranquilizers?
I think I've said what needs to be said, okay? If he ends up on the Golden State Warriors with Jimmy Butler, so help me God.
Will you be done with the sport?
J-Fig, I've said what I'm going to say.
Okay.
So
I said,
are we going to have to put you on watch?
I don't know. But what I've said what I'm going to say. If Damian Lillard ends up on the Golden State Warriors, so help me God. Has there ever been a trade that's worked out for less people than that trade, other than the Boston Celtics? Miami obliterated them. The Blazers kept nobody and strangely have now ended up back with Drew Holiday. And the Bucks, complete mess. The only people who got away with this scot-free were the Celtics. How the hell did that happen? He didn't want to be there. How the hell did that happen?
Dude, can you just like,
I'm sorry.
I know I'm not being realistic when I ask this. When it comes to stuff like this, can we turn it down just a
Let's get on the task at hand. Yeah, right.
Because
you're really
you get so worked up over stuff that was never gonna happen.
All
so if Golden State gets lit, by the way, he lives on the West Coast.
He's from Oakland.
He's from Oakland. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but
wait.
There's always been
wait. If he was from Florida, could Golden State be upset?
No.
Why?
I'll tell you why. There's always been a Steph Dame thing. Like Dame's always kind of looked at it like almost like a T-Mac Kobe thing. Like if I played with Shaq, I would have all the rings. Dame's always kind of been like, well, if I was with those guys, I would have won all the titles, So if he were to go there and be his backup, I'd just be like, come on, man.
So kind of like what KD did when he went to.
It's not no, because like KD and Steph aren't the same player. Like Dame is as close to Steph as anybody is to Steph, right? Like it's our style that good a shooter. He just was teamed up instead of Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. He had CJ McCollum. And who did he have? Who's the center that he had? Which Chich did he have? He just got traded.
Bogdanovich.
I don't think. No, he had Nurkic.
Nurkic. The other itch.
Yeah.
That guy's a moose.
He's a moose, but he's not very good anymore. Not very good.
So Mac Munn says it right.
What's up?
Dame, Curry, Jimmy, Draymond. That sounds like the AARP.
It's very old team. I just don't want it. Just for my own sanity.
So, but my question to you is,
I don't even know if Dame makes sense here anymore.
My question to you is this.
Hold on, you're saying that Dame doesn't make sense anymore in Miami?
I don't even know. Yeah, I really no, genuinely. Like,
Wow,
I don't even know, but I want him because I love Damian Lillard.
It's a big change up from yesterday.
It is, but because like J-Fig, if we get Damian Lillard, I'm going to be happy to get Damian Lillard. But truly, I don't know if it makes sense.
But does he make your team better?
I think so.
How?
Because buckets, dude.
He's 30-some years old coming off an Achilles. How?
Well, science has changed. We saw Jalen Phillips beat science.
He's not even giving straight answers.
He's mid-20s.
By the way,
add 10 years to that. Wait. Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
How did Aaron Rodgers look when he first came back?
Not great.
That was a year.
Right.
So what do you think Dame's going to look like even after sitting out a year?
Well, I think if he takes the full year, that would be more than a year. Right?
Oh, dude, your body. I swear I have a better chance, and this is no lie, of trying to explain the Pythagorean theory to a 3-year-old.
What is
it? Trying to get you to understand, like, some of the stuff that
he's gonna know it. He was a math major.
What?
The way he knows it. I saw him.
He definitely knows it.
No. You should see him with firework prices. I don't think he's a math major.
He's a math major. He knows what the Pythagorean theorem is.
What is that? A squared plus B squared equals C squared?
Boom! He nailed it.
No way. That's a slope intercept form.
What?
I've heard that before. I don't know what that means.
I just remember things.
What?
Sometimes I just wish you.
Yeah, but can I just want something?
But it doesn't make your team better.
No. We don't know that. We don't know that.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't know that.
25 years old with a torn Achilles.
Well, it'll be a healed Achilles at that point.
When? In 2026?
Yeah, dude.
No, 2026, 2027.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we gonna do? Just have him here, sit him around here?
But there'll be no mileage. Yeah, but there'll be no mileage on this year. You know,
dude. Can I just tell you what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't play football. I get up and walk to the bathroom. That mileage counts. So I don't know what the hell you talking about. An athlete off of Achilles?
So you think we're gonna have a promo in a year's time, and it's gonna be like the Miami Heat signed Damian Lillard, hasn't played in 2 years. We'll see.
Yep. And the only person gonna be happy is Tobin.
I don't think that's true. Bama will be happy. It's his friend.
Yeah, but can I just tell you? Some of my bestest of friends that I play football with sucked.
Wow.
It didn't make them any less of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So if Bam getting his butt whooped every week, and the solution to that is old ass Dame Lillard off a torn Achilles.
You don't have to say old ass. Like it's a little bit. You're running up the score.
He's old though. It matters.
I mean, he will be older.
No,
savvy vet.
So what? He'll be 36.
Yes.
Off a torn Achilles.
On the mini.
You don't think that
for the cheapskis.
Oh my goodness, I don't care. It could be free. He can play for free. He's not gonna help you.
That's ridiculous. For free?
The point I'm making is if he can't play, it doesn't matter how much you're paying him to be on the team. And I'm saying, like, I'll say this over and over again. The Heat's problem the last 3 or 4 years have been injuries.
Yep.
And your solution to fix it is go and sign an injured player?
It seems a little Victor Oladipo.
It makes no sense.
A little Victor Oladipo-y. I get it. Even though Victor Oladipo is younger than Damian Lillard.
Yeah, but his whole leg is just ripped.
His whole leg
like
was
not
ripped.
even the muscles are just.
Look, does it make sense as much as 2 years ago him fitting in seemed like a glove with Bam and Jimmy? Does it make sense to put him in a backcourt with Tyler Hero? And then you basically got 2 turnstiles, one of them being 36. Tyler will be, 28 at the time?
Dude, what do you think Dame Lillard's going to look like when he first comes back?
I don't know. I think if we take our time,
I'm going to tell you what it's going to look like.
Let's take our time.
A 36-year-old basketball player with a torn Achilles.
We're going to take our time, though. We're going to take our time.
You don't have time.
Fully recover.
He's going to be 36. What, you going to wait till he's 37?
You're fully rats off a ship on Damian Lillard? Can't believe we've gotten here. At least we got
Damian
Lithuanian
Lillard. I love Dame Dollar. I do.
I love him, dude. I love Dame
He
Dollar.
can't help the Heat.
We don't know that.
You literally just said you don't know that.
I don't know it. We'll see.
Boxed in. You're boxed in.
Dude,
We'll see.
can I just tell you?
What?
You are. I want to go.
He's trying to pull the hair he doesn't have on his head, Tobin.
Pull this.
Wait, JFig, you don't want Damian Lillard?
I don't want broke Damian Lillard.
You're a Heat fan. I want to know if you want Damian Lillard.
Talking to me or Leroy?
Just answer the question.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Take a break. Back after this. right, welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you guys want to go see Ghost at the Kaseya Center, caller number 5 right now. We'll get a pair of tickets to see Ghost at the Kaseya Center coming up in July in a couple of weeks. It's a Live Nation show. And if you guys want to go right now, caller 5 to 305-567-0560. You'll win a pair of tickets to see Ghost. Speaking of Ghost, Kasparas Jakučionis, his head coach, Brad Underwood, joined us earlier. We're going to bring that to you coming up here in about 15 minutes. And you guys can hear what he had to say. I think you guys are going to like it. Basically called him Lithuanian Luka.
No,
basically.
He looks like basketball too.
Can I just
what do you mean? That's basically
You're
what he
putting
said.
words in his mouth.
Can I just tell you, Tobin?
What's up?
Too much.
Why?
He did not say that.
Hold on. What he said was
he makes passes like Luka.
Yeah. And then he said, you know who turns the ball over a little bit? Luka. I was like, oh? 2 and 2 together, Leroy. Pythagorean theorem.
All right.
Speaking of the Knicks, they hired Mike Brown as their head coach.
Mike Brown.
There you go, baby.
What a search. What a search, Knicks.
That was the plan, huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
And you want to know, so listen, Mike Brown did a good job in Sacramento. You kind of just hired Tom Thibodeau. Like, I don't understand.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He is the most similar to Tom Thibodeau, basically, in the, like, gets on his players, defensive coach, fine coach. Never won anything, but he's a fine coach. That couldn't have been the plan. I can't imagine that was the plan. Tom Thibodeau has gone, and you hire Mike Brown? Man. If you're a Knicks fan, does that fire you up? Like the retread of the retread? Like, don't you want to, like, somebody new?
The thing that is amazing about bad organizations is no matter what their situation is, no matter what success they have, they're always going to make bad decisions.
That's
and I'm
true.
not saying that Mike Brown is a bad coach, but I'm saying you got rid of the best at what he does to a guy who does similar to what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And so to say that Mike Brown's going to be better, because why? You know why everybody's going to think Mike Brown's better? Because he's going to use 10 guys. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Great. That's great. Even though
How about you get him more players?
not like he hasn't worn, but it's also like not a guy who also hasn't like worn thin on his players and then they were done with him. It's like literally happened at every Mike Brown stop too.
Right.
Oh man. Crazy.
Defensive look, nobody wants a defensive minded coach because of how it looks.
Remember how for like 30 seconds we thought we were getting that guy from Italy to be on the coaching staff? And we're like, oh, I like that.
That was good.
And they're like, never mind.
No.
Never mind.
No.
I think that guy was just playing the leverage game though.
Yeah.
He was probably looking around and goes, who needs a coach? Even the coaches, even the international coaches are using Heat for leverage now.
Jeez. That's all we are. Just leverage.
Somebody who doesn't have to worry about leverage anymore is Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah.
Aaron Ekblad. He admitted yesterday that his long-term future was very stressful for him during the season. This was a very good boy, Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah,
weighing in.
stressful. I didn't want to leave, and like I said, I made that known. But at the end of the day, it's negotiations are negotiations, and things can go, one way or the other pretty quickly. So I'm really happy and proud that things got done, but it was an extremely stressful few days. Both sides are playing hardball at different times, and sometimes you feel like you're getting further apart or closer together. But ultimately, we came to a deal, and it was the right deal and a good deal for both sides. And I feel it's fair, and I feel respected, and really happy that we were able to get it done, and a huge weight lifted off my shoulders that I was carrying all year.
Can I tell you how the negotiations went?
Do tell.
Guys, I can go somewhere else and get more money, a lot more money. I want to stay here, but you got to be realistic with your offer.
Don't be jerks.
Right. Exactly. And they tried to come in with a couple of numbers, and I'm like, really? Really, dude? And then they probably threw the line of, well, this is all we can afford.
Which
right?
is true. I mean, there was a line that they could only afford.
No, I understand that. I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, when a guy who could make what, 9-10 million a year resigns for what, 6 or 7?
Carlos is surprised Doc Rivers wasn't poached by the Knicks. Doc, did you ever consider leaving Giannis for the Knicks?
Let me tell you something. There's a couple of organizations where coaches go to die. I don't even mention no names. I don't want to talk poorly about any organizations. You know who they are. Why in the Sam hell would I go to a organization that just fired their coach after going to the Eastern Conference Finals? They go, well, Doc, you just went to a team that the coach won the championship. We ain't talking about my situation.
Don't worry about me.
Don't worry about me.
Here's a little bit more from Aaron Ekblad, and says that Florida has become his home, and he's glad that he gets to stay home.
Yeah, I mean, it was always Florida. Florida, again, like I said, I don't think you guys understand. Florida is home now. I'm in Windsor, Ontario here, I guess Tecumseh, Ontario, but we're here for a month because my wife's got some visa issues. We don't typically spend much time here, so Florida is home, and the personal calculation was, how do we make it work so that we can keep as many guys as possible, but obviously, again, still feel fair and respected, and be able to walk into the locker room and feel that respect. So that was a personal calculation. It was always Florida. This is home for us, and the friends that we've made over the years in and out of hockey, and the relationships we've built in Florida is everything to us, as in that sense.
Damn,
so wait, wasn't he trying to bring the Stanley Cup to his neighbor's house?
That was Barkov.
That was Barkov. Okay.
That was Barkov. I think Ekblad's just sitting there by his magical manatee, and he's like, "Hey, Earl."
That's why he didn't want to leave Florida. He owns a manatee.
You definitely know that Ekblad's waking up every morning feeding the manatees, just feeding them carrots.
It's a very humble way to wake up.
I don't know if you should be doing that, Ekblad.
Earl, though?
Do they eat carrots?
I don't know. When I go to see him when you see him at an aquarium, they usually have like a lot of vegetation around them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I know Scooby.
Right?
Scooby just said carrots aren't in the ocean.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though, dude. Like they're like they like
Scooby
vegetation.
did not say that.
What?
They like vegetation.
Okay. So does Fonz all of a sudden. He's a vegetarian now.
And by the way, visa issues for Mrs. Ekblad. Hey, where's the Prez? Like I thought we were there at the cup. Like I know, fix it, dude. Carter. Hey, ice hockey.
Do not mess with Miss Aaron Ekblad.
What a good boy. I'm so glad that he's sticking around. Number 5 going in the rafters one day.
We got to get on to ice hockey.
It's just weird.
Thank you, Bob.
So, and look, now, Dr. Shabaka, I seen a manatee eating a cabbage once.
Carter Verhage.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Lithuanian Luka, Kasparas Jakučionis.
You can't keep saying
No, I'm calling him that now.
He's making it a thing.
Coach Underwood said I could. No, he basically did.
Aren't you taking a few liberties here?
Perhaps.
I'm telling you.
Brad Underwood, head coach of the Fighting Illini. He was Kasparas Jakučionis' coach in college. Broke down all things from draft night, his skill set, what he's like. We talk about the Heat first round pick coming up next. We're certainly excited because the Miami Heat got a bit of a surprise in the first round. Kasparas Jakučionis ended up falling to Miami at 20, where a lot of people didn't think that he was going to be there for Miami. And Illinois had a hell of a draft because they ended up having back-to-back picks go there in the first round. His teammate Will Riley went right after him. And we got the head coach of the Fighting Illini joining us here on the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. Coach Brad Underwood joining us here on the show. Coach, how are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. Thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it. Can you take us to draft night? Because I imagine that went from a little bit stressful because I think people thought Kasparas may have gone a little early to you have this awesome moment for your program where they both go back-to-back. What was that night like?
Yeah, very fun. I told them before the draft, both of them, expect the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen. It seems like every year that there's a shock or two, guy taken, somebody drops or slips. But truly that means nothing. The number means nothing. It's about the organization and it's about the opportunity. We've been through this before. We went through it a little bit with Io DeSumo a few years ago. It ends up in a great spot. And in KJ's case, Kaspar's case, it was phenomenal. Just couldn't end up with a better organization, in a better spot, a Hall of Fame coach, two budding superstars to play with. And what a great spot for him.
One of the things that's amazing is you not only had your two players, but you coached against Vlad Golden.
Yes.
So you have you actually know about three of the players that the Heat ended up, either signing or drafting. I have an off the wall question: is that have you ever seen two guys go in like the top 5 or 10 and that college team not make the tournament?
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes to how good our league is. I think to how good this year was. Just an incredible group of freshmen.
Right.
In the Big Ten. I think you look at, KJ, Will, the two Rutgers guys who you're referring to, and Ace and Harper, Derek Queen, Jace Richardson. I mean, it's just an elite year. That the league was filled with young talent. But Steve Peichel's a tremendous coach, and if you don't have all 5 spots, it's very hard to win in this league with just a couple of guys, and that was the case this year. But the league's so good top to bottom. If you don't have a stacked team and some depth, it gets very hard to win.
So, Coach, tell us a little bit about KJ off the court. What is the things that make him tick as a player? That made him so successful.
Yeah, you think about this. It probably goes understated that you've got a young man moving across the water, 18 years old, new team, new friends, new situation. Going to classes, university structure, and that's a lot of change. And then to step in and make the adjustments to handle those situations in such a mature way. KJ is very mature, beyond his years. He was a pro long before he was announced as a draft choice in his approach. He was a great student of the game, maybe the best I've ever had in terms of studying and film, and he's very serious in terms of his approach. His diet, his recovery process, his workouts are extremely disciplined. There's a young man who hadn't eaten sugar since he was 13. A guy that he's not enjoying Skittles and wings. He's very serious about that stuff, and his approach extremely competitive, and a guy that is winner first and foremost, and it's why it's such a great fit with Coach Spoelstra and the Heat.
Have you found that younger players now are more prepared for the various levels of basketball that they're going to than they were, say, 15 years ago?
I think to a certain extent, yes. I think in some ways, no. I think the physical parts of the game and the competition that they see are at an elite level. That's changed a great deal with the prep school situations and the some of these schools that stockpile talent. So it's not that they haven't seen great players. I think that the challenges is how hard it is to win in college and how hard it is to be a good college player first.
Right.
You don't just bypass all of that. You have to take the steps to do that. The strength and conditioning piece is very different. Most of these kids at the high school level have never been in shape. They think they are, but they don't know what that is until they get to this level. So I think it's it's a little bit of give and take on both of those on both sides of that. But kids are very prepared in terms of the talent, and they're not in awe of anything anymore.
Now, the thing that stood out immediately when he got drafted, we all started looking at the highlight reels. I mean, his passes are absolutely sick, Coach. The thing that this kid can pull off with the basketball. When did that pop for you when you saw, oh my God, I can't believe that he saw that or can pull those off? Did that pop immediately? Did that start developing in the season? When did you notice KJ's passing ability?
No, I'm enamored with passing, and in the recruiting process, that's what stood out the most. That and his ability to hit game winners. He was Mr. Clutch. But there's not a pass he can't make. And that's very, very rare for a player his age, right-handed, left-handed. It's really fun as a coach. He may have a turnover and you ask him, what did you see? And what he sees is ahead of the game. It's ahead of most people. It's a frame or two ahead. And you, as a coach, you see it. And you're just almost amazed at okay, it's hard to get mad when he turns it over because the read was right. But he is, I think he'll be great in the NBA when you eliminate the 3 seconds in the paint. The rule we have in college, it'll open the floor for him. That's why he's such a great teammate. He can elevate everybody. You're putting a lob threat with him now in pick and rolls as well. So I think that it's very exciting for me to watch him continue to develop because he is such an elite passer.
Oh yeah, so you've already thought about what him and Kalel could be like together.
It's the one thing we had a stretch five who could really shoot it, and that duo together was elite. And now you give that lob threat, that'll put a lot of stress on the front of the rim.
Yeah, I'm curious about one thing, Leroy, but the turnover thing that you mentioned is interesting because it's everybody pointed that out when he got drafted, his turnover numbers. But I imagine as a coach, if you have a guy running your team and he has that creativity, you don't want to strangle that out of him either. You don't want the kid to be gun shy, especially. So how did you guys balance that with him, especially being a young kid only in his first year?
Yeah, he really grew in that area. And again, I looked at it like Luka from this standpoint. If you watch Luka turns the ball over. And KJ really grew in that area because he started to understand situations more as the season went on. And I never wanted to stunt I usually clapped when he turned it over. He had one or two where you were just okay, he's going to throw one in the third row and you just get it out of the way now. And then he settles in and he doesn't make that play again. He's very cerebral. He's very conscientious of those things, but his situations grew. and he became more comfortable in those numbers came down.
Is KJ a player where, when he has a turnover like that and you ask him what he saw, you wait kind of for the response before you determine the level of the turnover?
Yeah, no doubt. I know what I see, and
right.
and sometimes it was more explaining to him about the situation that we were in, if than it was the turnover of the play. The play was usually always going to be the right play. It might not just have been at the right time, and it might be we need to turn that one down to get to the next option.
That's growth, though. That's from playing the game and playing at different levels. And once you learn the different, the time of it, it's kind of like a quarterback. When it's 3rd and 14 in the first quarter, you don't have to stuff it in there. But when it's 3rd and 14 in the fourth quarter and you need to win the game, sometimes you got to take chances.
That's right. And he's fearless. He knows he can make the passes. He knows he can make the plays. There's a undeniable fearless mentality with him that is really fun to coach.
What was the night like after both your guys get selected? Like, what were the emotions of that like?
Tremendous. And to go back to back, it was really neat because they went through the process then after the draft, and they do all the backstage stuff and the NBA social and all of the interviews, and they're right there together. And as a coach, you can't help but have a smile on your face. You're like the proud father. And then when it came to all the pictures and the photography, we were able to put them together. They were roommates on the road. They're very close friends, and for them to have that night in an individual way, and yet to turn around and be able to celebrate it with a teammate and a good friend, and get those pictures, it was really neat. And all their families know each other, and so it was a pretty cool after the moment type night, and had a lot of fun as a coach, enjoying that moment with them.
I heard Adam Simon that night, the Heat assistant GM, he was talking about that you guys told him that that KJ has no hobbies. Like, you always just found him in the gym, that he was that kind of crazy about it. Is that true? Is that's the type of the guy is as far as his dedication to basketball?
Yes. And I think that will it's what he knows. He's very, very, very funny. I've always said that we had a young man on our team, Tomislav Ivicic, who will be in next year's draft and one of the top guys coming back. And to listen to those two, they could make millions and millions on a podcast because they're hilarious. And Kasparas is very funny. He's got a dry humor, but he's very smart. And so he loves to sit and talk to people. He loves to he's very social that way, but he's not a guy that goes out. He's not into all the extracurriculars of the bar scene and clubs and all that. He's way more serious about the game and wants to become the best he can be, and he just doesn't think that stuff benefits him.
Well, Coach, congratulations. That's an awesome night
Yes.
for your program, and thanks for giving us some time talking about Kasparas Jakučionis.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your summer.
All right.
You too. Take care. That's Coach Brad Underwood, head coach of the Fighting Illini. The